Hello and welcome back to another stream. Today we're going to be talking about Ricky Gervais and what he's been saying about veganism. If you're new here, welcome. Great that you came across this video, and even better that you clicked. My name is David Rams. I make videos and speak about animals. Speak about animals and what we can do to help animals and to make the world a better place for animals. In a nutshell, that's what I do. That's what I'm here for. That's what my entire channel's for. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're someone who also cares about animals and cares about making the world a better place for animals, you're in the right place. Hit the subscribe button and join our little community here. So today, as I said, we are going to be taking a look at what Ricky Gervais has said about veganism. He said something very recently, actually, just a couple of days ago on a podcast that currently has 1.7 million views. So we're going to be taking a look at that. And we're going to be taking a look at Ricky Gervais's entire history, really, of what he's been saying about animals, what he's been doing to help the world or make the world a better place for animals. There's a lot to look into, actually, with Ricky Gervais. If you've never heard of what he's up to and what he's into regarding animals, you're in for a nice surprise. Also, I mean, most people know Ricky Gervais, I assume, from The Office, or maybe if you're younger, you probably know him from his spicy jokes that he's been making about all sorts of topics that are currently in the, in popular, that are popular right now within society. I won't go into specifics, but he's a controversial figure, and a lot of people love Ricky Gervais because of the controversial jokes he's been making about all these various things that we're not supposed to joke about anymore. But yeah, there's a lot more to him than that, and we're going to get into that. We're also going to be getting into some other stuff. There's a video that went viral about some guy was cooking meat in front of vegans. Here, I'll show you the list that we got to have a look at today. Some guy cooking meat in front of vegans on Zoom calls. It got 2 million views a month ago. We're going to take a look at that and see if there's anything to say about that. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, maybe it's something you would find funny. I'm open to it. Maybe it could somehow be. I doubt it. I think it's going to be quite annoying. But we're going to take a look anyway, because how the hell did that get 2 million views? And let's find out what happened there and make some comments on that. I'm going to take a look at some other stuff here. We've got there's all the Ricky Gervais things we're going to take a look at. We're also going to take a look at apparently on Late Night with Seth Meyers. They were doing vegan turkey. That's interesting. We'll take a look at that and see how that was, see if they liked it. There's a video here called Cultural Observations Vegans that's I think isn't against veganism. We'll take a look at that. And then one thing that's not on this list here is actually we're going to take a look at an interview that I did with somebody who used to be a hunter and actually is no longer a hunter, used to hate vegans, used to be a hunter, now is no longer a hunter and no longer hates vegans because he is a vegan, which is I think is an absolutely crazy story. So we're going to have a little look at that video together and see what we think. So that's the plan for today. How does that sound, guys? Give me some broccolis in the chat if you think it sounds good. And if you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments right now, say if this sounds good or not. Then you can go back and edit it later if it ended up not being good. That's the beauty of the editing comments on YouTube these days. If you gave some good feedback and later on you're like, actually didn't like it, you go back and edit the comments. So that's good fun. So guys, I'll be kind of casually looking at the chat. I can see already we've got Louis here, Charlie, Joshin, Jessica, Alexander, JP and Julia, what's up, guys? I'll be keeping a little eye on the chat. Dehim, what's up? But if you want to bring something up, you want me to take a look at something or respond to you, like guaranteed response, guaranteed we'll take a look at it, then use the pinned comment, the link in the pinned comment to do that. It's through Streamlabs. This is the program I use, and you are able to make a tip through the same program that I use. They don't take any cut. The money comes straight to me, and it helps me do what I'm doing, helps me with my work. It also ensures that your comment gets directly to me. I get a notification right here on my second screen when you do that, and then I can respond to your comment or look at what you want me to look at. You could also use the super chat option. That is an option, but YouTube does take a bit more of a cut, so I don't get all of the donation. However, it still counts anyway. So if you can only use super chat, then just use super chat. Don't worry about the YouTube part, the cut. It still makes a difference. It still gets some money to me, but I prefer it if you use the Streamlabs one anyway. I think that's the best bet. Thank you guys for doing that. You keep these streams going. It's through those of you that do send tips and donations that we keep everything going, and we are able to do this now on a weekly basis as well, which is great. All right, guys, let's jump in then. Let's take a look at Ricky Gervais's interesting journey. So I found this video here from 12 years ago, and this was a video, it just says Ricky Gervais on animal rights. Let's take a look. Let's skip the intro. Are you a radical?
Yeah, it's a tough one, and of course, you know, there's a big difference between saving someone's life and just getting right mascara.
He's talking about animal testing here. He's talking about how he feels there's a big difference between, say, animal testing to save someone's life and animal testing so someone can get makeup. That's what he's commenting on there.
Of course, there's no doubt about that. There is a big difference, but I mean it's more fundamental than that. There's still blood sports in the world. Bullfighting, really? You want to see an animal stabbed to death for your pleasure? You really get off on that, do you? I cheer when a toreador gets gored to death. I love it. He shouldn't have got in there. You know, it's not a fair fight. People shooting for pleasure. There's people wearing fur of endangered. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what to fucking do with them. Just think, why are you doing it? Why do you need that? Crazy. It's just crazy. I want to say, I want to crack a few heads.
So that was a short clip just from 12 years ago. And so you can already see he had a lot of passion even back then. So just about his comments on animal testing, when he was saying that, you know, animal testing for people's health, he sees the difference between that and animal testing for cosmetics. And I think most people see a difference. But what's important to note here is that actually testing on animals is notoriously ineffective in finding and discovering or developing drugs to help people. And that's been pointed out now by, I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm not a scientist, okay, researcher, but it's been pointed out by multiple teams of researchers all over the world who are very, very passionately pointing out that animal testing is ineffective. It's at this point, especially when we have all these other alternatives, AI alternatives and all these systems and all this incredible technology, especially today, and for the last 10 years apparently, especially, or maybe even a little more, it has been just so ineffective and just so pointless to keep testing on animals. And they argue that the only reason that animal testing still continues, even for, you know, drugs and life-saving medicines, is simply because that's just the way the system's set up. That's the cheapest way to do it. That's the way all of the researching and the way that they can pass through to get the drugs passed on to the next stage. And it's all set up that way. And the only reason it's set up that way is just because we've been doing it for that so long that it's difficult to change it. So it's not set up that way because that's the best way. It's set up that way just because that's how we've always done it. That they spent lots of money setting it up that way, and they just don't want to change. And they being the industries, they being academia, they being the research systems themselves. I'm sure there are many individual researchers who would love it to change, but unfortunately they don't speak up. And they're not the ones with the money, are they? The ones with the money are the ones who make the rules, and the ones who have the funding. And unfortunately, the ones who have the funding are the ones who are saying, no, keep the system as it is because it costs too much money to change it. So yeah, but this was 12 years ago, obviously, and you know, and I can't speak to what Ricky Gervais did or didn't know back then. But the rest of what he said, completely on board with. Why would you buy fur in 2024? Who's buying fur, and why are you buying fur? I mean, you're going to wear the skin of another animal? Come on, guys. I mean, to stay warm, just wear more layers. You can get other clothes and wear more layers. You know, we don't need fur at this point. And blood sports, I'm sure that's something we can all agree on, vegan or not. I'm sure everybody in the chat, and I'm sure everybody who watches this video would have an issue with bullfighting. Bullfighting is absolutely horrific. But just torturing an animal for fun and then killing them, oh my God. I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing that this still continues today in 2024. You know what else continues today in 2024, guys? I don't know if you're aware of this. Maybe some of you have never looked into this, but there is a sport over in India called Jallikattu. where they in India, where they're supposedly revere animals, the cows. Sorry, they supposedly love the cows and treat the cows like gods. But also in India, in certain parts of India, they take cows, they tease them, wind them up. Sometimes they rub chili in their eyes. They'll pull their tails and hit them, get them really wound up. And then they let them go. And the game that they play is that they have to hold on. So they'll have multiple people trying to hang off the back of the cow. And this is hundreds of people I'm talking here, not just like 2 or 3 people. We're talking like hundreds of people, all crazy, screaming. Lots of noise, lots of disruption, and the cows are just absolutely terrified. There's something called jallikattu, that is, and that still continues today as well. It's kind of India's version of bullfighting. If you didn't know about that, let me know in the chat. Say, I didn't know about that. I'm curious to know how many people do or don't know about that. And if you are from India yourself and you're someone who is against this and you're an activist against this, let us know. Let us know how you're going over there and how that's going and if anything's changing, because bloody hell, absolutely terrible. Right, so then that was 12 years ago. So he's already speaking about animals passionately, right? But it keeps getting better. It keeps going that way as well. Ricky Gervais is it's not the first time he's spoken so passionately about animals, and certainly it wasn't the last either. Here he is with Ellen on the Ellen Show. And this was, Ellen brought up Cecile the lion. Do you guys remember Cecile the lion? When when this poacher, not even a poacher, this trophy hunter, dentist guy flew halfway across the world to go and kill a lion. Did you guys hear about that? Did you guys know about that? I know this happened quite a while ago, so I don't know how many of you are, new to the world of looking into things or new to social media or things like that. I don't know how old you guys are, but yeah, maybe you remember this situation with Cecile the lion. So Ricky Gervais is being asked here about this guy, this trophy hunter killing this lion, and what he thinks about it.
We talk about animals a lot because both of us are huge, huge animal lovers.
Yeah.
And you were very vocal about your love of animals. And I loved when all this happened over the summer with Cecil the lion that was killed in Africa. You were so vocal about that, and you said some really important things.
Yeah, I mean, something like that happens, every day. I mean, to hundreds of animals. The lion had a name, and it got out because it was an illegal kill, obviously. But I've never understood it. I've never understood the thrill in killing an animal for fun. He wasn't going to eat the lion. And what's the psychology of someone? There was a story last week. A 9-year-old kid, for his birthday treat, he was allowed to shoot a bear.
It's absolutely disgusting, isn't it? Can you even believe that as a 9-year-old kid's treat to let him shoot a bear? Also, he mentioned that he couldn't understand the mindset of this guy shooting the lion. He wasn't even going to eat the lion, Ricky said. But even if he was going to eat the lion, why would you go out of your way? Why would you fly halfway across the world to go then and kill and eat an animal when you could literally go down to the supermarket, your local supermarket, and pick something that's animal free, and that will be just as tasty and just as nice and just as everything, just as healthy, just as tasty, except no one had to go and kill some animal, either go kill some animal in the wild or kill some animal in a slaughterhouse. I mean, it's baffling that somebody would travel halfway across the world to kill any animal, whether they were going to eat them or not.
I thought, what are you doing to that child? And it was on. He put it on YouTube, and the bear came into the garden, and he shot it for a treat. I don't understand the psychology of it, and I've never understood things like bullfighting. Why do you want to see an animal? I love it when the bull wins.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
Me too.
I cheer.
Yeah. I do too. They never win, though.
They never win.
Yeah.
No. They never win.
They never win. Even when they win, they end up,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand it either. I don't understand how you see something absolutely beautiful in its own environment, watching it, and then taking some kind of pleasure in ending its life in a cruel, cruel way.
It's the psychology of that. I've never understood why people like to do that.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're vocal about that. I love that you love animals so much.
Yeah, so he's talking here that he doesn't understand the psychology behind it. And there is a lot to this. I mean, I recently had an interview with a hunter who no longer hunts, and we'll talk about that later. I'll show you the video. I'll show you the interview a little later on, because I think you're going to really appreciate it if you haven't seen it yet. But basically, the crux of it was that for his reason, why did he go out killing animals? Well, he told me it was because as a youngster, if you didn't go out and kill animals like everybody else, you'd be seen as weak. And as a young boy or a young man, the worst thing you could ever be seen as in your community is weak. And in his community, yeah, hunting was seen as something that you do if you're strong. And if you don't hunt, then you are deemed to be weak. And so it was part of social pressure for him. It was also wanting to impress his dad. It was also, it was basically a combination of that. He personally never even enjoyed killing an animal. He didn't get a kick out of it. He didn't feel good about it, but he just suppressed the feelings and just carried on pushing forward. In the case of this guy who went halfway across the world to kill a lion, he clearly enjoyed it. I mean, this is probably a different mindset to the hunter I was talking to. This hunter seemed to get a real kick out of it. So, I mean, trying to get inside his mind, I mean, maybe he's inadequate in other areas of his life. Maybe he didn't feel like he was in control of his job or his career, or maybe his wife doesn't listen to him. Maybe he has something, I don't know. And he takes it out by going out, taking the lives of other animals because it makes him feel powerful, makes him feel like he's in control. I mean, that's what I would guess. I'm no psychologist, but I mean, it seems that. What do you think? I mean, it's either that or the guy was just an incredibly violent person that just wanted to kill. I think that's less probable, right? I don't know. I don't think there are many people out there who are just really horrible, violent like that. I think there's usually something else going on, a control problem or something. You know, they just need to control. They need to have some control in their life, and so they take it out on animals. It's probably the reason a lot of people actually abuse animals in the first place, is that when they can control and hurt someone so much weaker than them, it makes them feel bigger and stronger. The same reason that some people abuse other people who are weaker than them too, right? It's probably all about the strength and the domination of another, because they don't feel good about themselves and they feel like they're getting dominated. It's nasty. It's an absolutely disgusting thing. Let's take a look at this video from Ricky. Another video from a little while back. This one's from 8 years ago. Ricky Gervais talks about the Yulin Dog Meat Festival and bullfighting.
On a serious note, Yulin Dog Festival. I don't get it. I can't seem to stop it. It's just the most horrendous thing I've ever heard of. It's misleading as well. Because it says, Yulin Dog Festival, where you could say, and it's true, there's no difference. If you eat meat, I don't eat meat, but if you do, you could say there's no difference to eating a dog than eating a cow or a sheep, and that's fine. But what they do to these dogs is they torture them first, because it causes an overwhelming sense of fear and pain, which releases adrenaline, and they think that makes the meat taste better. It doesn't matter if it does. It's sadistic. It's fucking mental.
He's not wrong. Do you agree with Ricky on that one about the Yulin Dog Festival? I appreciate what he said, that, like a dog, a sheep, a cow, a pig, a chicken, ultimately, what's the difference really? And the answer is that there is no real difference between them that makes it okay to kill chickens and not dogs, And the same is the case here in Yulin when they're killing dogs. The dogs there are just as, they deserve protection just as much as any animal deserves protection, right? Including chickens and cows and pigs, and we shouldn't be eating any of them. We can just eat our animal-free options, can't we? We can just eat an animal-free diet and be very healthy. And I agree with him. It is absolutely sadistic what they do with the dogs over there, and the how they torture them in order to make the meat taste better. And it is an absolute disgrace. And let's not detach also from the fact, a lot of people like to point at Yulin, point at China and say, look how bad they are. But we do horrible things to animals over this side of the world too. Did you know they use gas chambers to kill pigs? Now, that's going to blow some people's minds, I'm sure, but this is not a lie. Go Google it and find out. You can take a look into it. It's not just an animal rights thing. They openly admit that's how they do this in the pork industry. So for things like bacon and sausages, they are gassing pigs to death. And, that's just one example of some of the horrible things we do. And, what's worse, torturing a dog and then eating the dog in China, or gassing a pig to death and then eating the pig in England, I don't think deciding what's worse is a useful use of our time, but we can agree that they're both absolutely horrendous, can't we? Thank you to Dave for the tip. The thing with animal testing and animal farming is that even if you completely ignored the ethical implications, they are industries that are completely ineffective, as we said, yep, but also even cause problems for our own species. It's just stupid at this point. I agree with you. Yeah, that's true about animal testing. And Charlie says, some people are simply genetically wired to enjoy hunting. It's really scary. Just as some people are genetically wired to naturally want to protect animals, there is a minority of people that just enjoy animal cruelty that most people are disgusted by. That's also true, Charlie. And thank you both, Charlie and Dave, for the tips. You're both absolutely right. And it does seem like some people are wired that way, but thankfully it's a very much minority of the world. I think most of the people who are coming up in this chat, who are watching this video, are not horrible, violent, abusive people. I reckon, I don't think we have any of those people here, actually. I think most of the people watching this video are going to be sensible, kind people who care about others, right? I actually think most people fall into that category, and I'm very happy about that.
They blowtorch them when they're alive. They beat them. They skin them alive, and they boil them alive. They're fucking horrible, nasty, sadistic cunts.
He's right.
And someone always, whenever I tweet about this, someone always says, oh, will you eat cows? Well, one, I don't. But if you do, I doubt you like it skinned alive first and tortured. Fucking idiots. So I just don't know what we can do other than just keep pressure up. I mean, it is like fucking hell. It's hell. It's the maddest, nastiest thing I've ever heard of. So, I'm at a loss other than, and then someone always tweets, oh, dude, don't tweet that picture on social media. Like, that's yeah. I'm offended. Good. I'm glad you're offended. Maybe you can do something about it.
It's true. A lot of people don't like when people like Ricky Gervais or others share on social media some of the things that they are trying to work to end, some animal rights stuff, like trying to end the dog meat trade or trying to end bullfighting or trying to end trophy hunting. A lot of people get offended and upset at the pictures. The thing is, though, I mean, you've got to share the pictures, right? I don't like seeing them either. It's not like if I see a picture of some dog being tortured, I'm not happy about that. It's not like I'm going to say, oh, I'm so happy you posted that. It bothers me too. I'm angry too. I'm angry that they posted it because I have to see it now. And I'm angry that it's happening too. So I'm totally with you. But taking it out on the messenger is not smart. Like, we shouldn't be punishing Ricky for posting something like that. We should be punishing the people who did this. That's where we want to go. Okay, that upset me. Now, what can we do about this? Right? Not tell Ricky Gervais don't post it anymore. Hiding it doesn't make it go away, does it? Right?
So, good. Thanks. And thanks for following, and thanks for always helping me with these things and, retweeting them and liking them on Facebook, because it does make a difference. A few years ago it would take months, sometimes years, to get 100,000 signatures, but now it can be no time at all, and then it gets heard in Parliament. It's a bit difficult when it's abroad, where people say, oh, what's it got to do with you? What happens? Well, yeah, you can say that about anything, couldn't you, really? Same as bullfighting. What? Where's the joy in that? Seeing an animal tortured to death. It's traditional. Well, yeah. So was child sacrifice. So was slavery. So fucking what? Just because it's tradition, if it's fucking mental and horrible, stop it. Fuck. Yeah. Again, people think the bullfighting is a fight. It's not a fight. The bull doesn't want to be there. They've often bled the bull first, so it's weak, provoked it, blunted its horns. Sometimes they cut the tendon so it's in charge mode, and then some fucking sequined cunt goes out and pretends to be brave.
Again, he's not wrong, is he? The things they do to bulls in bullfighting is absolutely horrific. Is absolutely devastating violence, just phenomenal violence. What they do to those poor animals, and all for a sport, and all for just nothing, all just literally for the sake of pleasure. Which is, at the end of the day, let's be honest, guys. I mean, a lot of people are only eating animals and only eating a burger or eating cheese or eating eggs. It's all for pleasure as well. I mean, when you look at it that way, killing bulls in a ring for sports or killing bulls and cows in farms for meat, it's all killing for pleasure, right? I see a couple of people, before we continue with this video, I'll take a quick little segue. A couple of people popping up in the chat talking about babies, and they're trying to ask, what do you think about babies though? What do you think about babies? And I personally have, up until now, I've never, I won't say this out loud because YouTube is gonna think of something very weird, but I've currently never done any of that, let's say, that we just discussed in bullfighting and the meat industry and what they do to animals. They kill animals. I've never done that to a baby. I never plan on doing that to a baby. And so I think a good amount of vegans also wouldn't do that to a baby. So there's your answer. If you are on that, bringing that up, and you are someone who feels really, really important, you feel it's really, really important to you, and that's your thing that you want to fight about, you want to bring up in public, and you want to be an activist for, and I commend you. That's great. That's your thing. Do that. However, you obviously see that vegans care about animals, and you're trying to say, well, why don't you also care about babies? Well, flip that around then. And if you think there's some comparison to be made there, that's great. I would ask that, considering that you are so passionate about that, technically, well, I'd hope you were also passionate about animals too, because animals are just as defenseless and just as innocent and as babies are. So yeah, I mean, there's your answer to that question.
I fucking love it when the bull wins. Fuck you. No one... Don't get in with the bull. This has woken me up a bit. I better do some work. Thanks very much.
All right, so that's Ricky Gervais on Yulin and bullfighting. Oh, yeah, put the screen up. There we go, sweet. I did see one more comment on that topic saying meat eaters wouldn't do that to an animal. What's your point? The difference being that I am A, not doing that to any babies, and B, I wouldn't pay someone also to do that to any babies. I wouldn't fund it. Whereas on the flip side of this, people who eat meat, people who eat animal products, you are directly paying people to kill animals. You're paying people to do all sorts of horrible things to them. There is abuse involved. It's maybe not the same as it would be in China, for example, with the Yulin Dog Meat Festival, where they literally try to hurt the dogs as much as possible. But in the meat industry, they're not trying to avoid hurting the animals. They do lots of things to the animals without anesthesia. They, for example, will castrate them without anesthesia. They will pull out their teeth. They'll cut the end of their beaks off. They'll cut their tails off, all without any pain treatment. They'll burn their horns so their horns don't grow. These are all things that are happening in both meat, dairy, and also the egg industries. So you could class these as methods of torture, I would say. I mean, if you're putting pain on someone and you don't care that they're in pain, and it's putting them through like severe pain, like suffering, and well, in their eyes, it's torture. For you, it might be, oh no, I just need to cut their tail off because it's part of what I need to do, or just need to pull their teeth out, whatever. Sure, for you, in your eyes as a farmer, maybe it's just what you need to do to make the farm work or whatever. In their eyes, that's torture. In the same way with the dogs, actually, from the dog's eyes, it's torture. From the person who's torturing the dog's eyes, it's the meat industry. In the Yulin Dog Fest, or the Yulin, the dog meat trade, literally to them, it's the meat industry. It's the same as the cows, the same as the pigs, the same as the chickens. To the dog, it's torture. To the chicken, to the cow, to the pig, it's torture. So I don't think there's any two ways around that. Let's continue. Now we got a video where Ricky's talking about poachers. And stay tuned, because we are going to get to the most recent news, where Ricky shares his thoughts on on veganism as well. Okay. Thank you, Mark J, first of all, for the super chat. Nothing else in the world, not all armies, is so powerful as an idea whose time has come. Victor Hugo, animal rights, an idea whose time has come. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. It's a very powerful quote. Thank you. And Charlie tipped, bless him, here Ricky seems to express the common vegan feeling of seeing animal cruelty and feeling powerless to stop it. Absolutely. I'm very thankful that the vast majority of people in the world also have that feeling of, when they see animal cruelty and they see abuse, they feel that drive to like, oh God, how do we stop this? I think it's something that I've seen in so many people, even people that you would never expect it as well, actually. People that I wouldn't have imagined to have said some things like that. And they do, because the vast majority of people are good. They're deep down, they're good people, and they want to do the right thing, and they don't like seeing weak and defenseless animals in pain, and they want to stop it. And I'm really happy we have that world to work with, rather than some other world where I don't know, where most people are the opposite of that. Can you imagine? So here is Ricky Gervais. He's talking about poachers in this video.
It's sad that we're going to lose species forever, because once a species is gone, that's it. Extinction is forever. You know, that's it. You're out of the gene pool. It's usually senseless, you know, people killing rhinos for their horns, which is keratin, it's hair. It's got no medical properties whatsoever. Even if it did have medical properties, they better be pretty good, and you still don't have to slaughter a thing and rip its horn out when it's got a calf. Ivory, same, for a trinket. You're killing this magnificent animal for a trinket, there's no point. Also, this nonsense, people saying, oh, it's conservation, we're doing good. They're not doing good, they like to kill things. If it was providing a service, we'd be paying them, right? A vet doesn't say, can I pay you some money to shoot your cat with a bow and arrow and then take a selfie with it?
God, that was such a good point. A vet doesn't say, can I pay you money to kill your cat and take a selfie with your cat? Could you imagine? That's basically, trophy hunting. That's basically what poachers are doing, isn't it?
It doesn't say, can I pay you some money to shoot your cat with a bow and arrow and then take a selfie with it? They're psychopaths. They like shooting things. It's an absolute nonsense. They like killing things. They like killing it with different weaponry. They like killing different, and they're willing to pay for the fun of shooting someone. Imagine if I went into a cancer ward and said, can I kill one of them, but I give £1 million to all the others to cure cancer? You'd go, fuck off, you psychopath. Yeah. So, it's bollocks. It's not conservation. It's rich psychos who like killing things. Fuck them.
So hardcore with poachers, and I totally agree with them. Poachers and trophy hunters are, some of the most disgraceful examples of animal abuse and cruelty and killing. I think that some of the most disgraceful examples, because the amount of money that's involved in it, the amount of money they pay to be able to go out and kill an elephant or kill a lion or kill a giraffe. I think recently someone killed a giraffe. It's so disturbing, and I'm definitely pleased that these people are in the minority of the world. The majority of people in the world, I don't think, get off on going out and shooting giraffes, right? Which is a good thing, because it is clearly sick, a sick way of being, to take pleasure out of going out and chasing down animals and killing them. It's for sure, there's something very dark and sinister and definitely sick about it. Like, you wouldn't want to live, I personally, I don't know about you guys, I wouldn't want to live in close to someone, or leave my kids with someone, or trust someone who takes pleasure from going out and killing animals who have the same kind of mental capacity, the same understanding of the world as a little child. I mean, if you take pleasure, like you really get off on killing someone with the similar brain as a human child, I don't know, that bothers me. I've got to say, at a personal level, it bothers me. Even though it's very normalized, I understand in some places it's very, very normalized, and to them it's completely normal, and they're probably lovely people, and in every other aspect of their lives, I bet they're nice in the community, and they do stuff for human rights charities and all this kind of stuff. But there's something really concerning about that to me, that they enjoy it. Like if they enjoy it, they love it. Like it's something I just can't wait to go and shoot an animal. I just can't wait to go and do that. I understand some of the psychology behind it. We'll come to that later with an interview that I did with a hunter. For now, we're gonna talk about this one. This one's like a more recent video, and this is where Ricky Gervais actually talks about veganism for the first time. Well, not the first time, but the first time super publicly.
Oh.
We'll try and skip to it.
You look good, buddy. You look happy.
Well, yeah.
That's
Let's get to the game. They play a game and then
comedy. So I went. So I've managed to bulk up, but with putting on 8 pounds of pure fat around my middle. I was worried I was getting too svelte and too handsome, and I was worried it would interfere with my comedy. So I went that way. So yeah, I'm looking great. I am in great shape. The shape being a sphere, but I am in great shape. Yeah.
But I heard this. I don't know if this is true or recent, but did you throw your back out?
Yeah, it happens once or twice a year. I can do. This time it was tying up my shoelace. It's ridiculous. So I go down and I feel something go, and that's it. I'm
going to find the point
in Italy
that I'm looking for.
To show what they could. I was on
It
the.
might not even
I
be
don't
in
know
this
what
video.
it was, but I was in such pain. I went emptying those out. And
Do you consider yourself a hypochondriac?
it's like some rare disease. It's down there.
Give me a minute, guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to find out where this is, where we're supposed to be.
For the last 20 years of her life, one news there was.
This is a prison riot. They are locked up. Your show, Afterlife. This is.
I mean, bigger and bad. It was. I lost my partner. I lost my mother. And it's been the best. I think that's the big.
I don't think it's
what
this
he really
Bloody
like a
hell.
better place. So
I
that's
forgot. I think I've
picked
the wrong bloody one. I'll tell you what then, don't worry about that one. We will jump to the most recent video, actually. So where Ricky Gervais is discussing veganism. This one is just from 3 days ago, has 1.7 million views. So let's have a look at this one. Bring us up to speed. This is now bringing us up to 2024, 3 days ago.
And you eat meat?
All right, where are we up to? Let's have a look.
These are like vegan.
Especially
these
for you.
cakes.
Oh, thank you. I've just had breakfast though.
Oh.
Can we get the real ones now?
You are vegan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've only been vegan for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. But I was veggie before that, and I sort of generally phased it out over my life, I suppose.
What's your reason for veggie?
Well, it's always been ethical, I think. You know, I just think, and I do a lot for animal charities, so I felt sort of hypocritical if I was saving dogs but eating sheep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
That's what you do, Roy. You save dogs and you eat meat.
Wow.
I've brought the... I'm really sorry.
I'm not the guest here. I focus on the guest, Jill.
First time I've seen you speechless. What do you enjoy most? Do you enjoy the stand-up stuff, or do you enjoy...
So there you go. I'm going to play a little clip because I reckon playing any more of it will get it copyrighted. But yeah, there it is. So Ricky Gervais has been a vegan now for 2 years. And I believe this is probably the first time he's fully explained why he's a vegan, which is, it's really good to see, really interesting to see his theory behind this and how he didn't want to be a hypocrite. He didn't want to keep helping dogs but keep eating other animals like sheep and cows and pigs and chickens. He felt like a hypocrite. And in some level, I think he was being a hypocritical or at least inconsistent, because he loves animals, he absolutely loves animals. But then at the same time, why would he pay someone to kill them if he loves them and tries to help them? It's like putting money into saving them, but then putting your money also into killing them. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Even though he did a lot of good, he did a hell of a lot of good. He put a lot of money in for animals, and his work definitely helped. It's great that now he's also not causing the problems that he's trying to fix, isn't it, right? And he does help, by the way. He does help a lot, actually, Ricky Gervais. He donates a lot of money to animal charities. He's been passionate about this for a long time. He's been working with PETA before. He's been working with various animal organizations before. If you take a look at this as well, he's recently donated almost £2 million to animal protection charities. This was just last year. He did that after the success of his latest comedy special. He donated a hell of a lot of money to animal charities, which is obviously amazing. And in his special, in the actual special itself, he had some great moments where he spoke about animals. I will show you this. So I can't show you the actual clip itself because I tried to do it earlier and it just shut down. It's like it gets blocked, unfortunately. But yeah, this is what he said in his special about animals and about kind of, this is to millions of people, by the way. This went out to millions and millions of people. I think people care about the planet deep down. I think it's just that most people on the planet don't realize that most people on the planet are destroying the planet. Most people don't realize that in my lifetime, we've wiped out 70% of all animal populations. And what's left on the earth of animals is 36% humans, 60% farm animals to feed humans, and 4% wild. People don't realize that we have to tear down entire rainforests, lungs of the earth, just to grow grain to feed these cows to us. We steal grain from third world countries because they want hard currency. They can't even feed their own people. We take their grain, feed our cows, meat eaters. If you eat meat every day, if you gave up one day a week, we'd feed another 100 million people. But I think people care deep down. They go, it's out of sight, out of mind. Think of an animal that most people know, their dog. They love their dog. They wouldn't let anyone hurt their dog. And a dog is a cow, is a sheep, is a deer. People love their dogs so much, but they won't even watch a fictional thing where a dog gets hurt. And I get that. There's even a website called doesthedogdie.com. So he said this during his special, just comedy special, which went out again. It was on Netflix. It went out to millions and millions of people, and he won an award for it. It's like it was one of the it won an award. It's one of the best comedy specials of last year, and I think it was the best, voted the best comedy special of last year. So tens of millions of people will have seen that, and that was in it, which is incredible, isn't it? That he's so passionate, that he speaks up about animals, that he speaks up in defense of animals, and is really trying to make the world a better place by making people aware of some of these things. That this statistic here, the 60% is of animals on Earth are the farm animals that we use to feed people, and then how much food that we feed them instead of trying to figure out ways to get more food to more starving people. We're feeding human edible food to cows and other animals so that we can eat them because we are richer, and that's because animal products are usually more expensive than plant-based foods, So yeah, he pointed that out, he highlighted that, and then I really appreciated this last part here that he talks about how most people do care, which I agree with him. Most people do care, but it is out of sight, out of mind. You care, but you don't have to see it. So if you ask the average person who's watching this video, I mean, there's 200 people watching this video right now. Not everybody's in the chat commenting, but I bet I'm talking to you now, person watching the video right now who's not commenting, who's just tuned in, maybe you're just watching. I'm talking to you right now. I know that if you and I sat down, no cameras, no microphones, nothing, and I said, hey, do you care about animals? Do you care about the animals in farms? Do you care about the animals in slaughterhouses? Do you think those animals deserve to have some kind of pain-free, torture-free life? Do you think they deserve freedom? Do you think they deserve to be individuals and like a dog would, and just to, I don't know, experience love and affection, or just be left alone? I think most of you would say, well, why? Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, why wouldn't I think that? Why wouldn't I want to give another living, breathing, thinking animal, a feeling animal, some kind of freedom, to be free of any kind of horror, suffering, or confinement, or, well, they would say, I would want to give them a good life. I'm sure you would say that. I'm sure that's how a lot of people feel. But then you don't have to think about it, right? You go out to the supermarket, nothing in there is telling you, hey, think about these animals, and maybe make a better choice, maybe eat something animal free. Actually, most of a supermarket most of the advertisement, most of the money spent on advertisement is by the meat industry. It's like I think it's like $1 trillion industry, £1 trillion industry, euro industry. They've got so much money, so much power. So you go to the shop and you don't think about it. But I agree with Ricky Gervais that I think you do care. I think most people do care. It's just that, yeah, out of sight, out of mind. And it's easy to forget these things because there's so many people out there paying to make sure you forget it so that you'll keep eating meat, so that you'll keep eating their animal products and don't think about it. And as he said here, this last part, a dog is a cow, is a sheep, is a deer. You know, it's a really powerful statement. And especially because most of us, we really connect with dogs, don't we? We really connect with dogs because we've grown up with them and they know our emotions, don't they? I'm sure you've all been through it, or those of you who've had a dog, that the dog can sense your emotions. They make eye contact with you as well. They understand your, like, if you frown or if you smile or if your language, your tone of voice is high and low. They understand a lot of that, actually, dogs. So we connect with them really deeply. But at the end of the day, there is no meaningful difference between a dog and, say, a pig. I mean, pigs have skin that's more similar to ours. Dogs have more like fur. Pigs have the snout and the big flat nose. There are some dogs that have flat noses, unfortunately, of course, the ones that have been bred like that, like a pug or a French bulldog. But obviously they're very different physically, right? They look super different. They probably act in different ways. They have different noises, stuff like that. But when it comes to who they are, right? Who is your dog at home? Who is that's whatever his name is or her name is, right? Who are they? What kind of individual are they? And then what kind of individual is the pig? The pig could also have a name. Pig will 100% have a personality too, like your dog does. They'll both feel pain. They both avoid pain. They both feel scared. They both feel happy. These are the things that are important. These are the things that we should be thinking about, right? Not whether one of them was bred to be a pet and one of them was bred to be food. That's not important. That's not important to the animal, especially to the animal. The only things that are important to them are the things that I just mentioned, how they feel. Are they happy, sad, scared? Are they in pain? These are important things to them. How is their family? Do they have babies? They want to look after their babies. That's the important stuff for them. And that's the stuff we should be thinking about when we talk about this. And when Ricky Gervais talks about this, a dog is a cow, is a sheep, is a deer, that's what he means. They're not obviously the same. Obviously, they're not the same. But they are the same in the ways that matter. And that's what he's getting into there. And I appreciate that he got into that. I appreciate that that's something that he mentioned in his special. And then we have, Charlie, thank you for the tips, mate. Bless him. Here, Ricky seems to, there's another one. Important to remember that the 4% of animals are wild animal statistic is about biomass, not population. 99% of animals are still wild animals. Yeah, so you're talking, it's in terms of, wait, hold up. In terms of the size of the animals then is what it's getting at in terms of weight. Because I guess when you factor in insects, then obviously it changes. Or maybe he was referring to specifically to mammals. I'm not sure. Regardless, it doesn't change much about what we just said anyway. But I'll cheers for that anyway. Cheers for pointing that out. Appreciate it. We have one more video to take a look at here. And this is with Ricky Gervais going a little bit deeper. I think this is from one of his own live streams. He goes a little bit deeper into why he's made the decision to be vegan.
Because of ethical reasons. I couldn't sort of live with myself anymore. I tried to convince myself that it was okay being a vegetarian, but then I found out what has to happen for you to have eggs. Like they gas the baby male chicks or liquidise them just because they want. It's horrible. And I told myself that I only ate free range, and I found out that free range meant they have to have 2 feet instead of, bolted in a cage. And then dairy. I think it's a step in the right direction psychologically, because I think all you can do is be better than you were yesterday. Just change the world a little bit. And giving up meat does make a difference to the world. There's this stat that if you eat meat every day, if you give up 1 day a week, we could feed another 100 million people, because just the amount of water and grain it takes to feed a cow to be eaten by a certain amount of people is like ridiculous times the amount of the nutrition you can get from plant-based
things, you know, cutting down rainforests to feed cows and stuff. But, you know, I don't want to, because I think that annoys people and it puts them off and it makes them feel bad. I'm a vegan because of ethical reasons.
So there you go. There you go. He's talking about like he's made the switch and it is purely for ethical reasons, which is great. And he, by the way, fully understands what being a vegan means. He's not one of these people that kind of doesn't really get it and he doesn't, you know what why people are vegan. And, you know, some celebrities will say, I'm vegan, and they're not actually. They're doing lots of things that are, maybe they're eating, they're eating meat just once a week instead and things like that. But actually, no, Ricky Gervais fully understands what being a vegan means, and he's fully eliminated animal products from his life and from his diet for ethical reasons, which is absolutely, obviously fantastic. And it's great that he's speaking about it. And he's also right about what he said there about the impacts of eating less meat. The impacts of cutting out meat entirely are absolutely huge. The meat industry is absolutely diabolical in terms of the amount of animals they kill, and I'm including fish here, by the way. Fish are also meat. Fish is not a plant, right? So when I say meat industry, I'm talking about all the animals in the meat industry that we know about, pigs and chickens and cows, and then also the fish and the fishing industry, which is part of the meat industry. It's absolutely phenomenal. The numbers are just, it's trillions of animals we're talking about here. It's just mind-boggling to even think about. So it's so damn important that if you care about animals and you're someone who wants to make the world a better place for them, it's so damn important that you start to do something about this. And a lot of people do start with cutting meat out, which is absolutely a good thing to do. Of course, like Ricky Gervais was just saying, it is a very, very good thing to do. It does make a difference, and it's a great place to start. But like Ricky said, even when you've made that change to cut meat out, it doesn't make the dairy industry a better industry. It doesn't make the egg industry a better industry. It doesn't make leather better. It doesn't make those other ones better. And so that's why I say if you are someone who is driven and you're like, I want to make the world a better place for animals, and you cut meat out, I would say, great. Look into the egg industry, look into the dairy industry. They're both also the meat industry. All those animals are going to be killed in a slaughterhouse too. Look into the leather, look into fur, look into animal testing. And make more changes too. Don't just stop at meat. Start at meat if you want. A lot of people do start by cutting meat out. Some people start by cutting dairy out. That's great, but don't stop there. Keep looking, keep learning, like Ricky Gervais did, and keep making changes, because it's so incredibly important that we do this. I mean, we have created a world that is so hostile to animals, that where we breed them and turn them into resources on a supermarket shelf, and in these farms and these slaughterhouses, you know, milk farms, dairy farms, and meat farms and egg farms, they are just nothing more than numbers. But they're not numbers, are they? We know animals. You guys know animals. You've met dogs. You've met cats. These animals are just like dogs and cats. But they've been turned into numbers on a shelf. In the same way that the animals in the dog meat trade in China, they also have been turned into animal and products on a shelf too. And we all are against that. Ricky Gervais is against that. We're all against that too. None of us like that when it comes to dogs. Well, let's look into that then also, and let's not do the same things to chickens, to cows, and to pigs, and to all these other animals too that are, like we said, realistically not different to dogs in the ways that matter, right? That's awesome news about Ricky Gervais. Speaking out, explaining why he's a vegan, and taking a stand on veganism. And I really hope we see more. I really hope we see more from him. And as he is an award-winning comedian, right? I mean, he's a huge deal. I believe his last award was, let's have a look. I mean, he's won loads of awards for The Office and stuff like that, but I think he won the award last year for his comedy, for his special. What was it? Is it Armageddon? Let me just check this now. It was Armageddon, and I'll pop it up on the screen for you. You can have a little look. Award. Ricky Gervais Armageddon Award. There you go. Yeah, he won the Golden Globe for Best Performance in Stand-Up Comedy on Television. So I saw someone in the chat earlier on saying he fell off. Dude won a Golden Globe for comedy last year. He's not fallen off. He's very much still at the top of his game, thankfully, and I hope he brings this these positive pro-animal messages there with him. I hope he keeps speaking up. I hope he keeps talking about these things, because it's so incredibly important, and he can really help a lot of people connect, you know. Now, I saw a lot of people, when we were talking about hunting, a lot of people are talking about like, oh, you know, hunting, you gotta be so strong to be a hunter. You're weak if you can't hunt and things like that. And it's really interesting, because actually that is part of the psychological nightmare that is put on young people when they talk about hunting. And I've got an example of this with an interview that I did literally just recently with someone who used to be a hunter, grew up with hunting, and yeah, well, I'll let him speak for himself. We'll take a look at this video. This is an interview that I did with a guy, and well, there you go. Well, I'll let you watch some of this video. This was crazy. So he used to be a hunter. He hated vegans. Hunter, and believe it or not, I'm here today with a very special flaw of your thinking. Start from here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with a very special guest. I'm here with Hunter, and believe it or not, Hunter was a hunter, an actual deer hunter, who has now completely changed his outlook on life. And that's what we're going to get into today. So welcome, Hunter, to the channel. Great to have you here.
How's it going, Devin? Glad to be here, man.
I just want to dive right in here. This is really interesting to me. You grew up in a family and a culture that deeply valued hunting, right? And even to the point that that's what your name is. Your name is Hunter because of that. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, my dad literally named me Hunter. Yeah, it was a huge part of my life. Absolutely. It was one of my first tattoos too, was a deer antler tattoo. It's like our family crest. Like we have a modern family crest that my uncle drew, and it's like has deer antlers on it.
Wow, that's what you've got. You've got.
Yeah, I can show it real quick. I guess that's okay. Yeah, that was like my first or second ever tattoo I got when I was like 17.
Take us back to those days, those early days. What did hunting mean to you back then? And tell us a bit about how it was tied to your identity, and you know, talk us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So back then, hunting was like kind of my identity. You know, when you're a younger kid, like in high school and shit, like everyone has their identity. Mine was like hunting. Every year, something I really looked forward to. One of my favorite things to do was to go up to deer camp with my family. And for those who don't know what deer camp is, it's essentially a day or two before opening day, which in Michigan is November 15th. You go up, and we have a cabin up north, and we just go up there and hunt for a week or two straight. And that's all we do is just drink beer, play cards, and hunt. That's all we did. That was one of my favorite things to do. It was a huge aspect of like bonding with my family, bonding with my dad, bonding with my uncles. I loved being outside. It was a big part of my life.
I've actually heard you describe hunting as a sort of rite of passage. As you would kind of in your community, it's something that's kind of deeply connected, not only in that way of what you just said there of you know, something you loved and really part of who you are as a person, but it's also deeply connected to the masculinity and kind of becoming a man as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you like in my like family, like if you don't hunt or like you're against like harming animals, like it's seen as weak. And like one of the last things you want to be like where I'm from is like be seen as weak.
So that's directly in responses. It's quite interesting that there were a couple people watching the video right now, watching the stream right now, who were saying that because Ricky Gervais is against hunting, or because I'm against hunting and we think it's wrong, that we're weak. They were saying we're weak people, we're weak men, and that's why we're bad. And then here is someone who literally grew up living and breathing hunting, with his entire family hunting, with his entire community hunting, who's saying that this is also something he went through, that you would be seen as weak if you didn't go and kill animals. That it was and he's going to get deeper into it now. And this is from a young age, by the way. He was fed this from the age of I don't know when it started, but definitely through to when he was 11 at least, which is actually when he killed an animal for the first time at age 11.
I remember even like just growing up in high school and stuff, like kids would like go out of their way to like run over squirrels and rabbits with their truck because I just thought that was cool. And like I always thought it was fucked. Even as a hunter, I always thought that was fucked up, but I never said anything because I didn't want to be seen as weak. I remember one time, like before I ever shot my first deer, it was like a week beforehand. And I remember my grandma said something about like, oh, Hunter, he's too nice. Like he can't shoot a deer. And my dad got all upset. He's like, my son's a man. Like he ain't weak. Like he can go out and shoot this deer and all this stuff. So yeah. It's seen as weak to essentially care about animals and not want to harm them.
Why do you think that is? So why do you think these traditions that you grew up with, how do you think they became so powerful? And yeah, how did they shape your perspective as well growing up, like on how you see the world?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's shoved down our throat because when you think about it, it really doesn't make sense that it's seen as weak because every other aspect of humanity, like we see sticking up for the defenseless, fighting for those who can't fight for themselves. We see these things as like strong and powerful and like this is what men do. They like stick up for those who can't fight for themselves. But then all of a sudden when it comes to animals, it's the exact opposite. So it doesn't really make sense. I think it probably just comes down to what we're taught in our culture and passed down from family, from the hunter-gatherer days when we had to provide for our families. I'm sure it's just been passed down and here we are today.
Yeah, I completely agree with him on that point. It is crazy how we ended up with this two beliefs that on the one side, oh, it's really, really important and manly and masculine to stop a bully, right? If you see some guy bullying a woman, if you go in and you beat up the bully, you are a real man. You should never see that. You should never see a woman or somebody who's a smaller man getting beaten up by like a bigger man. You should step in. It makes you someone strong. And the same as when it comes to animals, if someone's kicking a dog and you go over there and you get the guy and you're like, hey, and you stop that from happening, again, lots of people will be like, wow, what a strong, manly man. But then when you say, hey, maybe I should also stop people from killing cows or killing deer, all of a sudden you're weak. They call you effeminate. They call you like a soft ass or a pussy. And all of a sudden you're the reason society is going wrong. You need to toughen up and man up. But it's like, wait a minute. I just stepped in and protected that dog. I just stepped in and stopped that person from going and torturing a squirrel. But if I say, oh, I'm also not going to let that person go shoot a deer, or I'm against that person shooting a deer, all of a sudden, if I'm against hunting, now I'm not a real man. But I was a real man when I protected all those other animals. It's quite unusual, isn't it? And it's interesting. It's very interesting. The psychology behind it is interesting, but it's just completely backwards and wrong. And it's something that we need to start to reevaluate as a society, as a community, I think, and realize that actually it is for those who are passionate about protecting the weak. I feel like personally, and I think a lot of people would agree that is a quality that is something we should look for. That's a quality we should grow. We should look for that quality. We shouldn't look for the quality that of people who enjoy going out and killing those who are weaker and hurting them. We don't need more of that in society, do we? I don't think so. Jordan, thank you for the super chat. It says, go vegan, everyone. Thanks, Jordan. Good super chat. And for you growing up, you were fully bought into that, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. As you know, I literally, my first year of college, I wrote a paper defending the ethics of hunting. So yeah, right. I was pretty bought into it, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to get into that actually. It's a super interesting thing. So that essay that you wrote, you were defending hunting as ethical, and you were defending it as necessary for conservation as well. Now, at that time, tell us, like, what did you see as the strongest argument for hunting? And we'll start there. Like, what was the strongest argument in your essay?
Oh man, I had a few. One which is silly, but at the time it can sound nice to people who don't like really think deeply about it at first. Most deer in the wild, they end up having like brutal deaths, like they die of disease, starvation, whatever else. So you just shoot a deer and it just dies quick and painlessly. So you're preventing it from having a horrible death. That's one. I think I wrote something in there about preventing car accidents. Like the more deer you shoot, the less deer there are. So the less car accidents there are.
How do you reconcile that with where you're at now then? I mean, looking back on those arguments.
Yeah, so when you think of it in the context of like somebody like me, how I was as a hunter who didn't really care much about animals, I didn't grant them much moral worth, you can kind of see where it would make sense. But if you don't like objectify animals to the point where you don't see them as victims, and you think about it in other contexts about like things that we do care about, it starts to not make sense. So for instance, for like the car crashes, like the more deer we shoot, the less car crashes there are. Well, that would apply to people too, right? I could go out and murk half the population, and I would probably cut car accidents down by half, but that wouldn't justify going around murking people because you're making less car accidents, right? Yeah. And not only that, but I don't even actually think it is clear that hunting causes less car accidents, because guess what? When deer hear loud gunshots, what do? They run away frantically. When the deer's running frantically, what are they more likely to do? They're more likely to run in the road and get hit by a car. This is why statistics show around November 15th in Michigan, which is opening day in Michigan, there's more car accidents than any other time of the year. Right. So I don't even think that's clearly true. And then the other one about like shooting deer and killing them painlessly before they can die a brutal death because they might starve to death later. If we put that in another context, like we couldn't go to a country with with like a high starvation rate, such as like Yemen, and just go around like murking people because they might die a brutal starvation death later. We couldn't go to like a hospital where people are dying of cancer and just like start killing them because like they might die a brutal, painful death later because they have the preference to live, and you're violating that preference. And the same is in the case with the deer.
So he makes a couple of points there, and there's a lot to go by there. But I think that last point about that we will do so much to avoid going out and, we will protect humans to like such a level. Even if someone, a lot of countries won't even allow you to, euthanasia because they still don't, even though somebody's maybe begging to die, a lot of countries will still say, no, we won't make it legal for them to die because of all the laws and all the things around it, because there's so much focus on protecting human life. But yet, the second a minor inconvenience comes up, like, oh, okay, we're having some car crashes, and so let's go out and kill more deer so that we have less car crashes. And it's like, well, wait a minute. First of all, we don't have more deer, more car crashes. We have more cars and roads. We are the ones that are encroaching onto their land, not the other way around. That we built the road going through their habitat, and now we're going to kill them because they're going on the roads that we built. And then the other thing is, even if that is the case now, why are we not looking to explore every single, like, it shouldn't even be an option to be like, oh, we'll just kill them. It should be, okay, let's go down and let's find solutions here that don't involve that. Let's put money into this. Let's get funding into this. Let's allocate serious resources to this because we're not going to just go around killing animals because we built a road through their habitat. I don't know. And so he's absolutely right there. I saw a comment, and I'll quickly respond to this comment. Humans are still starving in this world, and here we are debating what food we shouldn't eat. Talk about privilege. Well, unfortunately, Kurgan, the person who made that comment, it's a little short-sighted you making that comment, because actually there is a lot of food that we are currently growing that could be used to feed people if we were able to properly distribute it and if we were able to keep a hold of it. But the reason we can't keep a hold of it and even consider distributing it to people who need it is because we feed it to animals. And then we kill those animals, and guess what? Guess who those animals get fed to? The richer people, the more privileged people. So if your main focus in life is actually humans, you want to feed the poor, that's your thing, and you don't want to talk about anything else, well, you should eat animal free then, because otherwise you're wasting resources that technically, in a world where we no longer use all of these resources for animals, those resources could be put to humans, technically. As long as you are funding animal agriculture, you are contributing to the problem that you're here arguing against now. Like you're here to bring that up, but you're kind of part of it too, And so this is it's a really, really bad issue. Animal agriculture and animal products are extremely inefficient in terms of taking how to create calories for the world. It's the most inefficient way of doing it. that's even if we're not even talking about morals and ethics, if we're not even going to talk about how it's wrong to breed and kill animals just because we like how they taste, that if you take that away, that these animals are living, breathing, feeling animals, creatures that have all the things that we value in life, all the things that we value in each other, and feel pain and suffer and feel happiness and joy and all the things, take that away and pretend that isn't the case, and it's still an incredibly inefficient system. So again, if feeding the world is your focus, you want to be looking into an animal-free system to do that, rather than the incredibly inefficient animal-based system that we have now. And that's something that you came to the conclusion of, you know, despite your upbringing, with that being completely, you know, normalized and celebrated.
Yeah, eventually I came to that conclusion. Yeah, I mean, obviously it took a minute, but
right, yeah, that's understandable considering how you were raised, and you know that's the case for a lot of people out there, not hunters only, but with what they eat and you know what they choose and how they choose to live. It's basically everyone's just winging it, right? And your parents were winging it, your grandparents were winging it. It's hard to blame them, but no one really knows.
I still love my family. Like, you know, I talked about how like my dad got me into hunting and stuff. I don't blame him. That's how he was raised too. I love my dad. We have a very great relationship. I respect him. I totally get it. Yeah, we are all kind of raised in this world where we're taught certain things, and you can't really blame anyone for it.
I say thank you, Dave, for the tip. It takes 16 kilograms of plant protein to make 1 kilogram of animal protein. So thank you for the tip. Thank you for the tip again. And yeah, absolutely, it's incredibly inefficient. So again, if someone's argument is that they feel like we should focus on the world's issues in terms of like starvation, things like that, first of all, you got to create more effective systems, haven't you, and stop wasting resources. And there you go. A lot of resources are wasted in animal agriculture if that's your focus. Everyone's just trying to do their best with the information they've got, right? So something that's really common that comes from a lot of hunters when discussing hunting, and they all most of them kind of fall back on this argument. They say that taking an animal's life in the wild, for a deer, for example, is more humane than factory farming, and they'll use this as a kind of it's their reason for hunting. So you know, I eat meat and that's better, right? Do you find that to be a valid defense? Would you have found that to be a valid defense? And then, as you probably don't now, what do you make of it?
Yeah, so I can tell you for a fact, I know I would have found that as a valid defense, because I used that as a defense in my paper defending the ethics of hunting. I literally multiple times in my paper brought up like how it's better than supporting factory farm where animals never see the lights of day, blah, 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 all this stuff. And there is truth to that. I do believe that. Like, if there was only two options, hunting or factory farming, yeah, I would say hunting is more ethical, because at least before you kill the animal, you're not putting them through a life of torture and misery. So I do think that's true. The problem becomes when we realize we have another option, and the other option is we can be perfectly healthy eating plants, so we don't have to support factory farming or hunting. And that's when the issue comes at play.
I think most reasonable people would agree that if pushed to the point of survival, that hunting would most likely be the better option versus a factory farm system.
And I know most people do think that, because a lot of my friends that I have that are hunters, they've told me, they're like, dude, you've totally changed my mind. Like, I try not to, they do, but they support it less, at least supporting factory farming less. They try to just, you know, eat their kills, their hunts more. So they do buy into that. They do believe that. And I've at least changed my hunting friends' minds on that. But
you are right, though, to reiterate there, that there is this third option of doing neither, which is obviously if animal welfare and is your concern, right? Which a lot of people are concerned about animal welfare, not necessarily animal rights or anything, but welfare. The highest welfare animal system you can support is the plant-based system, because that doesn't involve animals full stop. So that's the best way to get the highest welfare for animals, is to not fund any system or go out and kill them. Just leave them alone, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I've seen previously you've shared the story of your first kill, the first time you killed an animal, and that you had conflict in that moment, which is I'm very interested in hearing more about that. So could you talk us through that how that was for you then the first time you went out hunting and that conflict?
Yeah. So, you get out there and you're just excited to be outside with your dad. Like as a young kid, I loved my dad. I still love him, obviously, and I still look up to him. But especially as a young kid, you really look up to your dad, So I'm excited. Then we're sitting for a few hours. And then we finally see a herd of deer coming across. And that's when I kind of realized, like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to shoot this deer. You know what I mean? My dad gets all excited. He's like, hey buddy, there you go, buck right there. And he's telling me what to do. And that's when it kind of started to set with me, like, oh man, like, I mean, I was young, but I knew what was going on. Like, I'm about to kill this deer that, like, isn't too far off from a dog. Like, I really didn't want to do it, if I'm being honest. Like, I knew it was about to happen. I felt bad, but I had a conflicting interest because I also didn't want to let my dad down. I wanted to make my dad proud. I didn't want him to be disappointed in me. I didn't want him to think I was weak. So I shot the deer so that way he would be proud of me and he wouldn't think I was weak. And once I shot the deer, it didn't kill it because as much as hunters tell you that, like, it's a quick, painless death, usually it's not. The deer was flopping around like a fish on the ground. He'd get up, try to follow his family, get back down, flop, run, repeating the process. So we tracked him down. And he was laying there, like, flopping, like, fighting for his life, like, looking at me. And that was even more brutal than the first shot, is putting him out of, like, his misery. Like, I froze. Like, I sat there and I didn't know what to do as, like, a young kid. And my dad's like, you got to put him out of his misery. So I did. I just remember feeling just so terrible. Like, I felt like a deep sense of guilt. After that, I got cold to it. But I remember the first time I did feel pretty bad.
How old were you?
Probably 11 or 12, around there.
Wow. That's a horrible story. That is harrowing. Honestly, people talk about high welfare and they talk about these quick kills in hunting or high welfare in a slaughterhouse, and it can never be high enough and it can never be quick enough, especially when there is the third option that we've already established, especially considering that it can never be good enough.
There's this kind of false belief that goes around where, like, hunting, like, it always causes this quick, painless death. Like, every time you shoot a deer and it just dies within 5 seconds. I'm telling you, David, that is the furthest thing from the truth. That so rarely happens. It's just what you hear about from hunters because, hunters want to feel good. They don't want to feel guilty. They want to have you hear the best side of hunting. But I'll tell you what, this year alone, in my jiu-jitsu class, I train jiu-jitsu kind of like in the middle of nowhere. That's where I'm from, And I couldn't tell you how many times kids have missed class or my coach has been late because, like, they were spending hours tracking down deer, following blood that they never found. And it just makes sense when you think about it logically. You're shooting deer from, 60 to 120 yards out, sometimes 200-300 yards out. You're not going to shoot it perfectly every time. It's just not going to happen.
I never thought about that until just now, that the level of skill is probably not that high across the board and people are going to be missing and
and even if the skill is high, like my dad, he's a really good shot. He was in the Army. He sights his gun in every year, practices all the time. He still has bad shots, probably almost more than that, because not only are you shooting from 100 yards out, you're also, there's bushes in the way, there's trees, it's a moving target, all sorts of things. So of course, a hunter, for every 10 bad shots he has one good shot, and he'll tell you about that one, and that's all you hear.
So that was a really interesting point for me. That's something I hadn't heard before, actually, that a lot of hunters will tell you that, when I go out hunting, it's just one shot through the heart and that's it. Just one shot through the heart. It's so fast. It's so humane. It's so loving. We really make sure that we do it in this most beautiful way. And then here is Hunter telling us that even his dad, who is a really, really experienced top level shooter, is having bad shots more often than good shots. Because it's not just that you sit there at a shooting range and you just perfect conditions and you just fire a shot off of the target. You're out and it's outside, there's stuff in the way, the animals are unpredictable, like a deer doesn't just stand still and let you shoot them. They're going to move, they'll hear you, they'll smell you, and they'll shift quickly. And then also, you're not always a perfect shot. I mean, these people are doing this, as far as I understand from Hunter, they're doing this once a year. At the hunting season, right? This is the season for it. So it's only one period of time per year, right? So the rest of the year, they're not doing it. So how good could you really get, with at all of this? It's not that much practice, but it's even over many, many, many years, these people are still missing. And as he said, sometimes they never find the animal. So they shoot a deer somewhere, the deer's bleeding out, the deer gets away, and then we'll probably assume they're either going to be extremely injured and die bleeding out, or they have to live the rest of their life with some kind of debilitating injury if they manage to survive. It is truly, truly disgusting, and truly sad. Like I said, it was a very harrowing story. His story as an 11-year-old of making a bad shot and then having to chase the deer down, and then with the deer flopping around on the floor and him having to kill the deer. He said they seemed like he felt that deeply and pushed it down because of some of the comments we're getting here, actually. You're a sad representation of a man. That's one we have here. We need to do this to get through the year. And so he's saying, you're a sad representation of a man. Someone get these boys a tampon, someone else has said here. What else have we got? There's someone earlier on was saying something like, you'd be terrible in a war. And these are the types of comments that you'll see now that with Hunter, who, again, to reiterate, Hunter, the guy in the video here, grew up in a hunting family. His family still is pro-hunting. He literally lived and breathed hunting. He went out killing. His first kill was at 11, but he hunted continuously after that. And he's going to talk now about why he suppressed all of those feelings and why he pushed all of those feelings down. And you'll see it's exactly because of all of these comments that people make, except that in his case, it was with his family and friends.
10 bad shots he has one good shot, and he'll tell you about that one, and that's all you hear.
Now, at the time that this happened, then with this, where you followed this deer that was struggling and you had to kill the deer, you clearly had a strong reaction, and you've discussed it now here, and you can still see the emotions there, actually, even all this time later. So it was clearly a strong reaction and something that hurt you to see and do. Clearly also you suppressed that, and it completely suppressed those feelings. You've already mentioned that you felt that you wanted to please your dad, and in the moment, that's why. But then what do you think pushes young people like you were at that point to continue suppressing those feelings and to go out there and do it again?
Yeah, so it's essentially what I've already said. It's you want to make your dad proud, and also a big thing, and again, we already said this, but you don't want to look weak. As a young man, I mean, what do all young boys want to be? They want to be the roughest, toughest outlaw around, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want to be seen as weak. They don't want to be seen as girly. This is like the worst thing to be looked at as a young boy, and you want to prove everyone wrong. So if you're raised in a culture where shooting animals is seen as tough and manly, and caring for animals is seen as weak and feminine, of course you're going to continue to shoot animals to prove to everyone how tough and manly you are.
I've got a question, I'm going to lighten the mood a little. So there you go. It's interesting, isn't it, though, that we were sat here kind of watching him speak about this, and before we'd even got to the point where he explains what drove him to suppress those feelings and what drove him to actually just keep on hunting, and he hunted for years and years and years and years, by the way, before he stopped, it was exactly what was happening in the country. We couldn't even get to it before the comments came in saying that he's not a real man, and we need real men for war and all this kind of nonsense that he was actually worried about as a child, which is why he ended up going and being a hunter who did this all the time and killed many, many more animals. I actually find it pretty interesting and pretty crazy that that he didn't even have to say that before it came up in the chat. That's how prevalent this way of thinking is. There's how many people think this way, and it's a really sad way of thinking. Thank you, JP and Julia, for the tip. Hunting may once have been a strength to go against our nature and love for animals to feed a starving family, and then carry the burden of having killed an innocent. It is a twisted rhetoric to see it as strength without necessity. I agree, JP and Julia. Thank you. And Cat Lady tipped and says, I don't know how to convince people that being good at killing is bad. Well, actually, Cat Lady, I don't think being good at killing is necessarily bad. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a skill of being able to do that. I think the bad comes when you have the skill to be able to do that, but you do it just for your own pleasure, and you do it when you don't even have to. I don't blame somebody for killing to survive. Personally, I don't blame someone for doing that. At the end of the day, it is what it is. People will do, if they have to survive, they'll do what they'll do. But going out and choosing to go and kill because you like it, because you like killing animals, or you want to eat their bodies because you enjoy the taste of it, when you could just eat something else. You could go to the shop and eat something else, or you could grow your own fruits and vegetables, which is what we'll talk about also in this interview. That's when I think that's not a good thing, because for obvious reasons. I mean, killing an animal should not be something that's done as just it's just, well, why not, right? I like how they taste, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It should be something that is a survival for survival. It should be something that's only done in a survival situation when there's no other option, I feel, because at the end of the day, we should value animals. We should give them value in our society, because they have all the things that we value, all the things that we value each other for, all the things we value children for, the fact that they feel pain and they suffer, and they're individuals, and they're vulnerable and defenseless, and we're more powerful and we're stronger and we're smarter. And we're taught not to abuse our strength. Like, abuse of power, we're all against it. We don't agree with when the government comes in, sends officers with guns to into your home and take things from you, and that we say, no, that's an abuse of power. Or when they beat up so they arrest someone and beat them up, we say, no, that's an abuse of power. And when someone hurts a dog or abuses an animal or a cat, and we say that's an abuse of power, that's wrong. Well, then we should carry that over to all of these other animals too. And of course, in times of survival, we kind of lift those things. Sometimes things need to be done. And for example, we go to war, don't we? Right? Murder's wrong, but then sometimes countries go to war. Sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. But yet, in times of war, the rules change. In times of survival, the rules change. And that's a whole other debate. But we're not in survival times, and we're not in war times. So then why are we going out and abusing and killing animals? Why are we doing this when we can have perfectly happy lives, healthy lives without it? That's where we're at right now. And so this is what we're getting into with Hunter here. And this is what Hunter actually realized himself. And this is one of the reasons he stopped hunting.
You to shoot animals to prove to everyone how tough and manly you are.
I've got a question, I'm going to lighten the mood a little from where we were, actually. I've got a question from Reddit that I think was being asked in a jokey way, but it does have a real question in there. It was by someone called Miss Little Cute on Reddit, who asks, do you still dress in camouflage and eat your salad while sitting in a tree?
No, I don't do that. What I do, I still go to deer camp as a vegan. I just don't hunt. I go up, play cards for a night, and come back home. I don't have anything against wearing camo. Like, some vegans might have something against wearing camo or whatever. I don't care. Like, I'll wear camo as long as you're not shooting animals. Like, I don't care.
Well, the real question in here, I think, is I suppose, what would you say to people who think veganism strips away that rugged outdoors? I suppose the lifestyle. They say, well, going vegan takes you away from that life. I mean, you just kind of disproved it by saying you go to deer camp. But yeah, what else would you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because you don't hunt deer anymore doesn't mean you can't go out in nature. Doesn't mean you can't go mushroom hunting. I love morel mushroom hunting. When morel season's here, I'll be in the woods for hours looking for morels, and it's an absolute blast. It doesn't stop you from connecting with nature, which, by the way, I think is a really good thing. I think people should go outside and connect with nature. I think it's a great thing to do. I just don't think you should be doing it in the context of shooting innocent animals. That's all.
Let's talk about your transition then. There is usually, when someone has this big paradigm shift like you have, there's like a moment where they start questioning their beliefs. When did the cracks in your hunting mindset start appearing? And talk us through that, and then talk us through the journey of what got you to actually start reconsidering your lifestyle.
Yeah, so it's hard to say exactly when, but if I had to guess, I'm guessing just some of the times I was first introduced to the word vegan, even though I thought it was completely stupid. I'm guessing that started, what do they call it? Like dropping, I can't think of the right word, but maybe, just putting the thought in my head at least.
Right.
My sister had a friend in high school who was vegan. well, she wasn't actually vegan. She was just plant-based. She would go plant-based for a few months to help her acne, but still, you know, she called herself vegan. I remember thinking that was like super dumb. And then in college, I heard like some people were against like hunting, which is why I wrote that paper. I thought that was incredibly stupid. I remember on Facebook, I would get fed posts, like vegan posts and anti-vegan posts. And whenever I'd see a vegan post, again, I'd think it was incredibly stupid. I'd comment on it and just, you know, the typical meat eater shit, whatever, troll, like bacon. But then one day, it's kind of a boring story, not super interesting, but I was just, again, scrolling through Facebook and I saw a vegan post. I was like, oh, I'm going to click on this, like, see these, like, you know, stupid, like, blue hair, emotional vegans. You know how people think. That's how I thought. Getting owned in the comment section. Well, it wasn't that. It was one guy who was just factually and politely responding to everybody's, like, concerns and stuff. And he just answered everything really well. And at the end of the day, I realized all the meat eaters in the comment section had to say was, bacon. And that wasn't good enough for me because at the time, I truly thought we had to eat meat to be healthy. And so reading this guy's comments, like him sharing studies of like how you can be perfectly healthy on a vegan diet and stuff, really got me to think like, shit, like if we don't need to eat animals, like how can we justify like forcing them into gas chambers and slicing their throats? Because I think most people agree, like if we were just forcing animals into gas chambers and slicing their throats open for no reason, like we were just doing it just to do it, I think almost everyone would agree that's bad. Just for most people, what justifies it for them is like, oh, well, we need to do it to be healthy, to have a thriving civilization, which is understandable. That's exactly what I thought. But the problem becomes when you realize you don't need to eat animals, and we don't need to do that to have a thriving civilization.
So it was pretty crazy, huh? Like he was, as a hunter, grew up as a hunter, spent all of his life killing animals, going out killing deer, and then he was in college. He was getting Facebook posts, vegan Facebook posts, and he was thinking, oh, blue-haired idiots, woke, whatever, losers. I'm going to go and look in the comments and have some fun, make some stupid comments, make some bacon emojis, and watch these blue-haired dumb vegans get absolutely owned. And no, he found that actually the vegans were making the better arguments, and all the people against the vegans were just trolling and putting meat emojis and stuff like he was, and he suddenly realized it wasn't good enough. And this is how he started to make the changes and realize. And actually, he has quite a powerful moment. And when he finally realized that, okay, he's had it all wrong.
I like to consider myself an honest person. So I looked into it myself after reading that comment section. And after looking into it myself, I only realized even more like, holy shit, like we can be perfectly healthy on a vegan diet. You know, you got the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest group of nutrition experts on the entire planet, saying a vegan diet's healthy at all stages of life. Well, who am I to know more than the largest group of nutrition experts on the planet? You got the vegetarian cohort, you got the Adventist Health Study 2, all this peer-reviewed research showing you can be perfectly healthy on a vegan diet. And then on top of that, you also start learning when you look into it, it's better for the environment. It's better for zoonotic disease. It's better for antibiotic resistance, all this stuff. So I'm like, man, like I no longer have the justification of necessity. And not only that, it seems we would thrive as a civilization even more if we weren't to eat animals. And yeah, that's when I stopped eating animals. I remember I was eating a double steak Subway sub, and I threw it away, and I stopped eating meat that day.
So pretty inspiring story. So yeah, guys, if you want to watch the rest of that, you can head over to my channel. David Rams is the channel you're watching right now. And this hunter hated vegans, now he is one. That's we're about halfway into the interview there, and so I'll let you guys head over to watch the full video on my channel if you want to go and see the rest of it. But his transformation from hunter to vegan is absolutely incredible. That he went from trolling vegans, hating on vegans, realized then that vegans were right, from a hunting background, from growing up all his life killing animals, and then all of a sudden he realizes and transforms and says, do you know what? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right, and I'm going to change my life. And he changed it. And now he's been vegan for a while, some years, and he's also speaking about it. He's speaking up about it. He's actually got his own channel. It's called Empty Cages. You can find him on Instagram at empty.cages. Go and check him out. And I'm sure you'll enjoy his content. A great inspirational story. Next thing we're going to look at is going to be quite, I've got a feeling it's going to be quite a frustrating thing to look at, but with it having 2 million views, suppose we can see why people want to watch it so much. So this guy here, apparently, there's a video here with 2 million views, and the title is just "Cooking Meat in Front of Vegans." It's 40,000 likes and 2 million views. And it's almost 20 minutes long. So, yeah, and a little bit of a change from what we've been looking at so far. We've been looking at some quite positive stuff. Now we're going to look at something that's probably going to be pretty negative. We'll see how far we can get into it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get too far into this. I don't know also what I'm hoping to see or what kind of commentary I'm going to be able to give on this other than insulting this guy, because I've got a feeling it's going to be quite terrible. But let's go in with an open mind and see what happens.
So the other day, one of you guys DM'd me and said, "Hi, I am a vegan and I attend a vegan Zoom class every week. I think it would be funny AF if you guys joined and ate meat. They would freak out."
So that never happened, first of all. That's obviously a lie and a fake DM from somebody, one of his friends basically did that, pretending to be a vegan and sent him that message so they could do this little bit for the beginning of the video. How anyone doesn't realize that, if you watch this video and don't realize that's completely fake and you believe it, then, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. You've been had.
That's every week. I think it would be funny AF if you guys joined and ate meat. They would freak out. That is exactly what we're gonna do today. But before I do it, quick disclaimer.
Disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. The content and actions depicted do not reflect my personal beliefs, opinions, or values.
All right, should be good. Oh, hey guys, sorry. Before the video starts, I forgot to mention that the host of this meeting was live streaming on TikTok the entire time.
All right, welcome back guys to our introductory to veganism. I would like to go around and everybody introduce yourself. Tell us how long you've been vegan and why you're vegan.
Hey everyone, I'm JJ. I'll go first. I'm a new vegan. I was a previous meat eater, but I actually...
What a weird thing, concept for a video to just go and join a Zoom meeting of people who are there to have some kind of serious conversation about something they're passionate about, to go to the meeting and pretend that you're also with them so that you can do something to try and derail their meeting and offend them for views on YouTube, for money. Because this video will have made, it's 2 million views. I mean, how much do you get for 2 million views on YouTube? Let's have a look. 2 million views, 18-minute video. How much money YouTube? 2 million views, between $1,000 and $40,000 you could get. So he's not making $1,000. I wouldn't say. He's probably making closer to probably $15,000 or $20,000 for this video. So it's just basically being a bit of a turd for money.
Actually decided to switch to being vegan, and we're here now. I just don't really like how people eat meat. It's messed up.
Awesome. What about you, William?
My name is William. I just became a vegan recently. I don't like animal cruelty and stuff, so.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I've been a vegan for about 10 years because I love all animals. I don't believe in killing or torturing animals. We don't need meat to survive. There are other tastier, healthier options.
I'm Hannah. I honestly do it for the animals. They are literally children.
Well, yeah, and I'm vegan as well. I've been vegan for about 7 years. You know, we don't need animals to survive, so we don't need to eat meat. And
I have a question. Do you have feelings for animals?
Of course, why wouldn't I? They're living beings just like us.
Your shirt does say "catch no feelings."
Catch no feelings. I just want to point out. Sorry.
Oh, so this is his mate. Okay, so they're just gonna troll them together. Got it.
Sorry.
It's just a shirt. It doesn't really mean anything of that nature.
I mean, I think it means something. I mean, it says catch no feelings.
So what are we all cooking tonight?
I'll be cooking a salad.
Okay.
How do you cook a salad?
Basically, just throw it on the stove, call it a day.
Never heard about a stove salad, but okay. William, what about you?
I'm doing spaghetti, trying to keep it cool.
Nice. What about you, ladies?
I'm doing something similar, zucchini pasta.
I'm just doing pan-fried tofu. I'm super excited about that.
Nice one, Zoom user. I don't think you ever told us your name.
Do you identify as Zoom user?
Oh wait, me?
Zucchini, nice. Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah. So one of my favorite dishes.
This is I don't know if we can. I mean, I don't know about you. You can tell me. Do you want to do 18 minutes of this? Because this is 2 million views. So some people like it, right? I am not liking it. I'll be completely honest with you guys. We'll go until, I guess the reason they want people to watch this is because at some point they're going to cook meat and the vegans are going to get upset. I guess we'll get to the first time that happens, and then I'll say something about it, and we'll move on because we've already committed 2 minutes to it. So let's see what happens.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Bob. How are we doing?
How are you, Bob?
Okay, so that's like the third guy that's one of their team.
How are you?
What's up, Bob?
I'm new here. How are we doing? How's it going?
Good. I don't know if you were here before, but we all went around and told each other why we're vegans and how long we've been vegans.
You know, I'm actually very new to this stuff.
How new of a vegan are you, bro?
I think I've seen these
I'm
people.
just gonna I can see already where something happens. All right, so I'm just gonna jump to that, see what happens, and then we'll.
That you're here right now, and they.
Oh wait, what?
Why would you even ask us something like that?
Well, I'm just saying, if you never have it,
Do you like eating cows? Do you like eating baby cows?
It tastes alright.
That literally makes no sense. It makes no sense that you're here right now, and that you're asking us if we eat meat or if we should eat meat.
We just wanted to bring you to the light.
How did it even go? Like, what?
We're just trying to be nice. We wanted to be vegan.
How are
You
you
guys not
trying to
even
be
giving us a
nice?
chance.
How can I? We're trying to show you. We're trying to show you about
vegan post onto a vegan's live stream and put meat in the camera.
I can prove that I'm a vegan. What I gotta do?
Pull out your meat.
They showed me. I didn't show no meat. All I have is vegan stuff. I could literally pull it out and show you right now. I put meat on the screen.
Okay, where is it?
I bet. Let me show you right now.
Oh!
Okay.
What the hell?
I think we're done
That
here.
was inappropriate.
So you guys came.
Jesus. Okay, so that's like wild that they it's honestly like a pretty all right, I'm going to try and look at this as someone who maybe I don't know, doesn't care about animals, right? Cuz as someone who does, I do care about animals and I want to make the world a better place for animals. That's why I make videos. That's why I do what I do. That's why I talk about what I talk about. If I was to put myself in kind of like the space of like, okay, so let's imagine now I don't care about any of that. Let's pretend I don't care about any of that. Would I find this entertaining? Still no, because let's pretend it's about a topic that I don't care. Let's pretend it's about World of Warcraft, right? Something I do not care about. I've never played it, but I know people love it, right? So there's a meeting that's happened here. These people they're meeting up to do World of Warcraft stuff, right? They're going to talk about World of Warcraft. These three guys come in, top left, middle, bottom right, and all they're trying to do is pretend that they're friends, first of all, pretend they're part of the community to gain their trust. And then, once they've gained a bit of trust and everyone's comfortable, they start trying to upset them by saying stuff that clearly is going to upset them, offend them, like saying things like that people say about World of Warcraft, like, oh, do you have no life? Hey, have you ever had a girlfriend? And just using, stereotypes. I mean, I don't believe those stereotypes. If you play World of Warcraft and you're a gamer, I also play games and a gamer. We all know these are the jokes people make, right? So like, oh, you've probably never even seen a girl, or like whatever, things like that. Have you? Oh, prove it. Stupid things like that, aiming to just upset them. If I saw that happening, I would just feel bad for the people who just try to have a Zoom meeting and include people in their little world. Because all they're trying to do, all these vegans are trying to do, is have a little Zoom meeting and include people in their world. They're saying, hey, let's come along and let's have a nice little meeting together and let's talk about food and let's welcoming. And I don't think it was even a vegan exclusive meeting. I think they were saying introduction to veganism. So it's like a nice little meeting, a group meeting, an open thing. And if you're going in there to try and upset these people who are just trying to share their passion, I don't know, you're just a bad person, aren't you? Or you might not be a bad person, but you're doing bad things. So you're doing it's mean-spirited. It's not playful. It's not fun. It's very mean-spirited and just not a nice thing to do. And that, maybe I'm too sensitive for today's brutal social media world, but I still believe in trying to be good to one another. I still believe in I don't know, like make fun of each other, but only if it's in a way where everyone can enjoy it, right? Where everyone can play along. If you're just making fun of people and it hurts their feelings, And you're going to where they are to make fun of them. You're literally going to their places, to their meetings to make fun of them and upset them. I mean, I think there's probably something's going on with you that you need to think about. You need to have a think about why you did that and maybe deal with your own issues. You know what I mean? Because you probably have some issues there, don't you? If you find that fun and you enjoy that. So yeah, we won't go further into that. But that was a that was an annoying video. I had 2 million views. I can't get my head around that. 2 million bloody views. Vegan or not. If you're a vegan or you're not a vegan, come on, you gotta agree with me that was 2 million views. Bloody hell. What is happening in the world, huh? Let's have a look at this. So just recently, and this is relevant for everyone who's planning for Christmas as well. On one of these night shows over in the US, they made vegan turkey from scratch, apparently. Now, I haven't seen this, and I haven't seen this yet. It seems interesting.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with executive chef of the ranch, Hudson Valley, Michael Narciso. Everybody, give it up for Michael. As well as my brother, Josh, right over there, is joining us. He's in town for the holidays. And this is a vegan Thanksgiving, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's very exciting. So what are we going to make, chef?
Well, we're going to start with our ginger turmeric tea.
Okay.
Kind of a detoxifier.
Great.
And, actually anti-inflammatory.
Did you say ginger turmeric tea? For what? For making vegan turkey? Really? Okay.
And then we're going to make our chickpea tofu turkey.
Chickpea tofu turkey. Now, the ginger tea, are we ladling it into the cups?
Can we just say, like, also, how cool is this that this is a big American TV show. This is 4.83 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, millions of people will have watched this, and they're saying, yeah, we're going to do vegan Thanksgiving. How cool is that they're open-minded enough to put this on TV and show people a different way to do Thanksgiving, a different way to celebrate that doesn't involve killing an animal. I think that's awesome. And this is relevant for Christmas. Remember, so pay attention to this recipe. If you're a vegan, obviously it's good for you. If you're not a vegan, give this a go. I recommend follow along with this and make it, and do that at Christmas instead of killing an animal. Especially if you have vegans coming over, because they'll really appreciate it. But obviously the animal will appreciate it more if you don't pay someone to kill them.
Yes, we're going to give you a little bit of taste of that.
Okay, great. Let's start with the ginger tea. And
something like that.
Josh, as a vegan, are you excited when a proper chef wants to make you some vegan food?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thrilled.
There you go.
It's
see?
so exciting to eat anything approximating like good, well-made, home-cooked food.
See, you'll make the vegan happy.
This is excellent tea. And usually I have a good deal of beef in my tea.
Oh, yeah?
I almost never have vegan tea.
You just go... You think a beef bouillon cube and water is
That's my tea.
Yeah.
All right, so start us with our tofu turkey here.
It's actually 3 phases, believe it or not.
3 phases, okay, great.
You're going to start, and you're going to make the tofu itself.
Oh, great.
Okay? And we're going to keep you stirring for 5 minutes just to keep you busy over there.
Great.
Yeah. Okay? You're going to stir that. Okay? And then you're going to add it. We have boiling water right here. So basically what we have here is we just have chickpea flour and water. We're going to add it to hot water. And in the process of heating it up, it actually, like the protein structure changes. And it cooks almost like egg whites does.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so you're going to add that to that.
Good to know.
And you're going to continue to stir.
Oh, I stirred it here, great. Now, I want to ask about Ranch Hudson Valley. You say it's a decision-free environment. Does that mean, is that about every part of it or just the menu when you're eating?
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility. Okay. Basically, but if you come there, you don't have to make any decisions. It's all done for you.
Gotcha.
But like I said...
Josh was saying backstage, sounds like marriage, and... He said it backstage. I don't know what to tell you.
It's easier that way.
So I took out one version because it takes overnight to set.
Okay.
So that is going to go in the loaf pan.
Okay.
And then you're going to end up with your tofu like this.
Okay, great.
So then we switch over to Josh over here, and we have some of that tofu already chopped up.
So it is already done. So I'm going to stop.
Well, you have those very soft wrists.
Okay, yeah, I do have very soft.
So the next phase is basically we take the tofu and we sort of manipulate it in a food processor, and we have a bunch of different seasonings here, like nutritional yeast, onion powder. We actually have a little chickpea miso.
So they've made tofu from chickpea flour and water, left it overnight, it gets hard, And then now they're going to blend it with spices and nooch, it seems, nutritional yeast. Okay, pretty simple stuff so far.
And he's going to blend that all together there. Okay. You're gonna
When did you shift to being a plant-based chef?
Probably roughly about 10 years ago.
And what brought it on?
I really, tell you the truth, I got sick a lot.
Yeah.
I got sick a lot, and my immune system just wasn't doing a good enough job.
And it's changed.
I don't get sick.
That's fantastic.
It's been since the time I started, I don't get sick anymore.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah, that was really helpful. Okay. Yeah, so you're going to add that. You put the top back on.
You must be eating a really healthy plant-based diet then, a really healthy animal-free diet. So far, the stuff he's using here is pretty damn healthy stuff. And a lot of people do report the same thing, that if you eat a varied, healthy, mostly whole foods, animal-free diet, like mostly whole food, plant-based, a lot of people do report that they have some big health improvements. Obviously, when you switch to an animal-free diet, there's no reason that you wouldn't be as healthy as you are currently. If you just want to stay where you're at, that's fine. There's no reason that you would become unhealthy unless you were eating badly. But there are ways to become healthier than you are right now. And a lot of people do find that through plant-based eating, healthy plant-based eating. You can eat badly too. A lot of people don't realize this, but just switching to an animal-free diet doesn't automatically mean you're going to be super healthy. Actually, you could just drink Coca-Cola all day, every day, and eat 3 portions of McDonald's fries every day. You're not going to be healthy, but you technically still be eating plant-based because there's no animal products in those things unless you're in certain countries where they use animal products in McDonald's fries. But anyway, you get my point. So in this guy's case, obviously he did a healthier version of a plant-based diet, and that's basically just eating, as I said, mostly whole plant foods. Lentils, chickpeas, nuts and seeds, and all the fruits and vegetables, and really getting most of your calories and your nutrition from those foods, and only small amounts from, say, your odd vegan burger or other kind of processed stuff that's not necessarily super healthy for you. You'll be super healthy if you do that. There's no reason you wouldn't be. I'll tell you, for me personally, I'm kind of a mix with it. I do eat a lot of vegetables and I do eat some fruits, but I am also really into just burgers, vegan pizza, vegan cheese, stuff like that. I don't think I'm necessarily unhealthy, but I'm certainly not at the peak. I could make more of an effort for sure. I could make more of an effort, but hey, that's not what, animal free is all about. I mean, see, I'm not a vegan because I want to be healthy. I'm a vegan because I want to make a better world for animals. I don't believe animals deserve to be forced into captivity and have all these horrible things done to them for meat, dairy, eggs, clothing, whatever it is. I'm against that, which is why I eat this way and why I live this way. The health side of things, that's a whole separate thing. It's a whole separate topic. You can be as healthy as you want to be eating an animal-free diet.
I'm going to get this guy out of the way over here. And you're just going to basically season the tofu, right?
Okay. And do you offer cooking classes? Because I feel like a lot of times people are intimidated by the idea of making vegan food, right?
Actually, twice a week we have cooking classes for the dishes we have served over there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And do you feel like the people's opinions and maybe biases about vegan food has changed in the last 10 years?
Yeah, a lot of guests come and they say, I really was struggling with the fact that it's vegan.
Yeah.
But when they leave, they said, I can't believe how well.
That's fantastic. And Josh, do you feel like people roll their eyes less when you tell them you're vegan?
Everyone but you.
Yeah.
All right, so
but that's really just Big Brother stuff.
Yeah. And Mom and Dad are coming to my house for Christmas this year, and it's going to be almost a fully vegan Christmas dinner, but I am going to make them a turkey because Dad would complain otherwise.
Yeah.
But everything else would be vegan.
That's fantastic.
We add the flour.
I mean, I think a lot of vegans will have to have that situation over Christmas as well. The feeling that you have to cook for someone else and that you have to give them a dead animal, otherwise they're going to be upset with you. I empathize with that, but honestly, my message for people who are going to eat with vegans over Christmas or going to eat with vegans over New Year, I mean, come on, guys. It's one day. It's one day. All the other days of the year, probably, you'd be eating meat, you'd be eating animal products, you wouldn't be eating animal-free. For one day of the year, if you're going to someone's house where they are vegan or they don't eat animal products, they're just on an animal-free diet, don't make them cook meat for you, don't make them. Maybe if they're really against it, like ethically against it, like if they're a vegan and they actually don't want to hurt animals and they make really big changes in their life, don't pressure them into cooking a dead animal for you. I mean, it's one day, right? You know what I mean? Be reasonable. You can manage eating with them, eating what they eat for a day, can't you? Not even a day, maybe. You're going to go in the evening, probably one meal. You can manage it for one meal, surely. Come on. At the end of the day, you can eat vegan food, right? But they are against eating the stuff that you normally eat. You're not against vegan food. You eat vegetables. You eat fruits every day. So, just this once or however many times that you go over to their place, just eat with them. Don't make them do something they're against.
You're going to pop that in.
All right.
Okay? It's going to form a ball.
All right.
Just like any other dough.
I feel like I've done a very good job over here and no one's paying attention.
Yeah, but you see how thick that's getting?
That's so thick.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
Here.
Have some ginger.
Here. Now your job is to pour that in the
Okay, great.
Can you handle that?
Josh, backstage, chef asked if who beat up who when we were little. What would you say to that?
I mean, I think there was one fight and I took your toenail off and that was it.
Yeah.
Who's
not
older?
intentional?
I'm 2 years older.
Just like slipped off his foot and there was his nail.
Well, if you got a toenail in your hand, it is intentional. All right, so
he needs to take this out.
right.
Okay.
All right.
And that's fine. Even if you don't get it all right now.
Yeah, but I can get it.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Get the blade out of the way.
Not afraid.
Okay.
All right, so this turns into that, and then he makes a ball of that.
Yeah,
and then the ball becomes this.
No, well, actually, we roll it into parchment paper.
Oh,
right?
this is parchment paper here?
No.
Okay.
This is one right here.
A lot of time in the kitchen with Seth.
Then we steam it for 1 hour.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you want to cook it again.
Yep.
So there's a lot of steps involved. And then, once we steam it, we baste it. Okay?
All right.
And again, you want to flavor it because it's not turkey, but we want to try to do the best we can. So you just baste it up.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
But
and that's chicken broth.
A little seasoned oil.
Seasoned oil.
Okay.
All right, we want to try it.
Okay. Then you take rice paper.
Okay.
And you put that over the top because it will emulate like a skin sort of texture
great.
on there. And then you continue to baste it, right? And you just keep going.
All right, great.
Okay. And then you bake it for about 40 minutes. In 10-minute increments, you keep basting it.
All righty.
Okay. And then you'll end up with your loaf.
All right, can I have a bite? Can I have a bite of this over here?
Yeah, I have some ready for you.
I'm gonna have one of these.
All right.
I mean, I'd take a bite of the loaf, but I feel like everybody would.
He's going to put it on a plate for you, but
I was
no.
gonna like,
nah.
make it like this.
This is how Seth eats. He's turned everything in his life into a sandwich.
There you go. I was going to do this for you. I have a little gravy and everything over here for you. Look at that. A little gravy, but you know what? You can do over there. We don't want that for you.
Here you go, Sophie.
There you go. Yeah, I got one for you.
Soph? Don't let the chef see.
Yeah, we're going to make you a plate anyway. All right?
It's really good, chef. It's really good.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Chef Michael Narciso, everybody, for more.
That's pretty cool, huh, that they did that. That they showed people how to make something like this on TV like that. And going out to millions of people. I mean, how many people saw this so far? This is like 40,000 people seen this one so far, but I bet when it actually went out live, it's got to a lot of people. And it's cool. It's definitely a process to make that, but it's a special occasion too, right? I mean, this guy's a professional chef, so obviously he's willing to go through the whole process of everything. But you know, with it being Christmas or Thanksgiving, it's worth putting some effort into to do something like that. Absolutely, from scratch, and it's going to be super healthy. As all they basically used was chickpeas, spices, a bit of oil, I think, and I think that was pretty much all they did, unless they blended it in with blended tofu. And I missed this point, but yeah, no, it was solid anyway. It was some pretty simple ingredients, pretty simple stuff. You should totally go and check out different recipes for making Christmas meals and Thanksgiving meals. Vegan versions of them, because honestly this is just one of them, and this is a chef, so he's obviously a little bit more advanced, but there are tons of regular people who also put out more accessible recipes that are really easy to follow. Don't take as long as this. This one said take like overnight and stuff like that. I think there are quicker ones that you could do that would skip a few steps. But even this does look pretty cool. I think we'll, well, not I say we. I think I'll ask my wife to give it a go. Maybe I'll do the stirring part like Seth Meyers was doing there. That'll be my input into that. It's about all I'm good for in the kitchen, unfortunately. But cool. Nice. I'm really happy that went out to so many people, and it's normalizing food without animals. I think that's really important, that we realize that food doesn't always have to contain animal products to be food. We have so many other options that don't have animals in, that we can be very happy and healthy. So many options taste-wise, so many options recipe-wise. It's a really, and especially as we are most of us are people who would like to see a better world for animals. That none of us like seeing animals being hurt or being put through anything horrible and going through pain or suffering or anything like that. None of us would willingly imprison an animal and confine them against their will, and because for our pleasure, go out in the wild and grab an animal and put them in your home, and or breed them and just keep them inside their whole lives so that you can take their milk off them or kill them. I don't think any of us would really do that just for our own pleasure. But unfortunately, we're convinced that we need to do these things for survival. People convince us no, you need this, and this is the whole thing that goes around. And all the farmers say, oh, we need it, we're feeding the world, and all the people are like, yeah, this is how we have to be, this is how we have to go, this is how, otherwise we'll all die of protein deficiency. It's just not true. And I don't think the farmers are all evil masterminds or anything like that. I think most farmers genuinely do believe that we need meat or need to drink milk or that we need to eat eggs to survive. I think most of them genuinely believe that. It's because they're just regular people who happen to have farms. It's not like they're special or like they know better or something like that. They don't. They're like everybody else in society. But we have all the evidence now. We have all the data. We have all the people living really healthily, eating healthy plant-based diets, fully nutritionally adequate, like all the nutrition that you need, with the exception of B12, which you can get in a lot of vegan foods, like soy milk and things like that. But that most vegans just take the supplement because actually the animals are also supplemented with B12. And that's how most people get their B12, vitamin B12 anyway. They get it by eating animals who are also given a supplement. So, vegans we just take a supplement instead of taking a supplement through an animal's body, right? Or an animal's milk, for example. And so, yeah, we know that now. We know that these previous ideas about what we need to eat and what we shouldn't eat, they're actually wrong. And that we know now that we can eat animal-free and we can be perfectly healthy, get all our nutrition without animals involved, which is great. And it's great that... yeah, that's becoming more, that more and more people are finding out about that, like through shows like this, who are going on TV and showing people like, hey, look at these awesome recipes we can do. Awesome. I see I've got a tip from Siama, who's asking me to have a look at an article and some Reddit comments with the article. I'll take a look at it. Yeah. Thank you for the tip, by the way. I'll take a look at it now. I see you guys are super active in the chat, which is cool. And I saw some of you earlier complaining about trolls. Has it been bad today? Has there been lots and lots of trolls? I only saw a couple earlier on. I noticed that people tend to, they kind of drop in, they troll, and then they leave. Some people have done that. I've seen a couple of times. I haven't seen them leave, but they just never say anything again after you guys respond to them. But yeah, keep in mind, guys, that for the people in the chat who are here to try and help create a better world, just keep in mind that you never know. Just keep in mind that you never know how far what you say will go. Remember earlier on we were talking about Hunter, who was a hunter, and what made him start to question and realize that actually his views on hunting were wrong and his views on killing animals and eating animals were wrong, and that he disagreed actually with them and he made him go vegan. It was a comments section that did that for him. And so you never know what kind of impact you're going to have on somebody. So yeah, when people come in here and they pop in and they say one thing, and try and make your response, if you're going to respond, try and make it something that you hope would stick with them, something informative, something that deals with what they said. And they might just see that and leave, but you never know. They might end up coming back at some point. And as for coming back here or changing, and as for the people in here who are, I've seen a couple of people who seem to be dedicated to messing around and not answering questions properly and wasting everyone's time in the chat. I would just ask that, I mean, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you've got going on in your life that makes you want to come here and, I don't know, waste your time and waste our time and just not listen or not answer questions or not have real conversations. I don't know you. I don't know what's going on with you, but this community in my channel is open to you. You are welcome to be here. I actually want you to stay, and I want you to stay around here and have conversations, but you're going to benefit, and I'm going to benefit, and everyone in the chat is going to benefit if you have actual conversations and actually listen to what's said back to you and be thoughtful about what you say. You'll get way more out of it, I promise you. And you know what? You'll feel better at the end of the day. Because when this stream ends, if you've just been fighting the whole time and being silly and trying to argue with people and just be mean, when this stream ends, you're just going to feel bad. It's not going to make you feel good. The stream will end and you're not going to suddenly feel like, oh yeah, that was a good use of my time. You're just going to go back to feeling whatever you were feeling before, which is probably a mixture of bored and sad. So why don't you do something that's life-changing instead? Why not actually have a conversation here that's going to, I don't know, learn something and, I don't know, have a meaningful discussion with somebody. Connect with somebody over the internet. Isn't that what the internet was created for? To pass information to each other and learn from each other? Well, give that a try maybe and see if it makes you happier than trolling. Because I've got a sneaky suspicion that it could, you know. It really could. All right, let's have a look at this Reddit thing that someone has recommended to me. Okay. This is it. Vegetarians and vegans consume slightly more processed foods than meat eaters, sparking debate on diet quality. Ultra-processed foods are industrially formulated items primarily from substances extracted from food or synthesized in labs. Okay, so my initial reaction to that would be, if the point being made here is this big article is that vegetarians and vegans consume slightly more processed foods than meat eaters. I don't know why this is headline news. It's not really a major point, is it? Like, oh no, vegans consume in general slightly more processed foods than everybody else. So we're pretty much the same as everybody else when it comes to processed foods. Okay, fine. I think I can live with that. But yeah, I guess that this is it's more focusing on vegetarian and vegan diets here. It's more talking about the food. It's focusing in on the food and trying to make up, I guess, a health point here that, oh, maybe vegetarians and vegans are not as healthy because they're eating ultra-processed foods. I guess that's kind of what it's trying to get at. And it's talking about how industrially formulated items extracted from food or synthesized in labs. I guess it's trying to make the point here that automatically means something is bad, but that's not always the case. Things that are formulated industrially made from substances extracted or synthesized in labs, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad for you if it's in that category. In a lot of cases it is, because they have really high sodium content and things like that, but not in all cases. Like, for example, there's drinks you can get, like the meal drinks, meal shakes. Like, some of those are very healthy. They have loads of vitamins in them. They have loads of essential nutrients, essential minerals. They have high protein and low fat content, good carbs. So for people who live really busy lives and work out and they just want things to be convenient, then these meal shakes are good, and there's no reason they would be unhealthy, yet they are industrially formulated. They're made from substances extracted from food or synthesized in labs. But, so it's not always the case that they're bad. First of all. But anyway, and you wanted me to look at the comments. Vegan junk food has come a long way in the last 5 years. That's true. I mean, that's probably the reason that vegans and veggies are eating a lot more foods that are processed, is because, well, vegan cheese is amazing now. Vegan burgers are awesome now. All the different vegan meats are amazing now, taste good. There's even vegan eggs getting made, and these are all things that they're not being designed to be healthy necessarily. But some of them will be, but a lot of them won't be. But it doesn't matter, because sometimes all you want is a greasy, juicy burger with some stretchy, melty cheese on it. And now we can get all of that in a vegan version. Who cares if it's healthy at the end of the day? I gotta be honest with you guys. I mean, at some point, let's not play silly games here. Most people are happy to eat stuff that's unhealthy as long as it tastes good, right? Vegans are no different. Okay, when we're vegan, we're concerned about animals. That's the reason that we become vegan. It's because we don't feel like it's right, and well, we don't think it is right to do all of these things to animals, to breed animals into existence, keep them in captivity, use their bodies for all sorts of stuff, take their skin off them, take their fur off them and use it for coats and belts, or eat their bodies for meat, or use them for milk and eggs. We're against that. We want a world that is much, much better for animals than it is now. But we still want junky, juicy, greasy food. I mean, a lot of us do anyway. And so, yeah, vegan junk food's come a long way. And that's probably why a lot of vegans and veggies are eating processed foods, just like a lot of the rest of the world is. I'm not vegan, but time to time I still put nutritional yeast on popcorn. So good. That's a very cool idea. Nutritional yeast, guys, basically, it's like a healthy cheese powder. So nutritional yeast is actually good for you. Has protein in it. I believe it has B12 in it, most of it, and some other stuff. And it's good for you, but it tastes like cheese. And so if you're looking for sort of like a cheesy powder alternative, just buy nutritional yeast, put that on your popcorn, put that on your food, put it on everything, literally everything. It is so good, and it's very addictive, and it's not that expensive as well. Nutritional yeast, or nooch as it's referred to. What else we got? Let's have a look for new comments. For most vegans, it's not about diet quality, but about refraining from using animal products. That's true. And someone said here, environmental considerations too. This is a surprisingly friendly comment section. I thought it was going to be hostile, but it seems to be that people are pretty chill about this. As someone who eats a fair amount of vegan junk food, I will say my own personal consumption habits are partially driven by the novelty of finally having more access to it. I agree. So a few brands even made that sort of thing for a long time. So when I see a new vegan bacon brand or pulled pork that isn't jackfruit, then I often give it a go. I'm in that boat too. I think a lot of vegans are. We like to try new things because we don't, when you become a vegan, it's not like you stop having interest in new exciting things and new exciting food. You still love all of that. You just don't want animals to be involved. And so when they make new vegan bacon or vegan pork or whatever it is, yeah, a lot of us grab it. You can be on a diet and you'll go to the shop and you'll go, I'm trying to lose weight, and you'll see a donut and you'll go, yeah, it's probably not vegan. Nothing's, no regular donuts are vegan when you just look in the shop, right? And then it has a vegan sticker on it and you're like, oh yeah, so screw my diet. I want to try this new vegan donut. Vegans are the same as everyone else. You don't just suddenly become a health-obsessed person when you become a vegan. Still looking for that juicy donuts, juicy vegan donuts. Okay, what else we got? All right, I'll do a couple more of these comments, and then we'll take a look at something else. Aren't vegans and veggies in it for the animal and not for the quality of the diet? Yes, that's true. Upvoted. Good. All right, cool. This one says, this is such a dumb study. Why have they chosen to categorize the NOVA by weight rather than by calories like every other person seems to? I'm guessing because they didn't find any significant difference otherwise. It's worth noting that studies using this same data set also find better health outcomes in veggies than the average population, which is probably a more useful thing to look at. Who on earth is peer reviewing this crap? Yeah, there's probably some limitations of the study as well, but thank you for recommending us to have a look at that. It was super interesting. My overall take is just what I've said, that if vegans and veggies want to eat ultra processed foods, then that's their choice to eat ultra processed foods. You don't have to eat ultra processed foods to be a vegan or a veggie. You can eat whole foods, you can eat whole plant-based food, you can be animal free, and you can eat only things that you make yourself at home, and you'll be all good. If, on the other hand, you're like me and you like greasy, juicy vegan burgers and vegan pizza and stringy vegan cheese and all that kind of stuff, then eat all that kind of stuff. But just be aware that don't let it go overboard, because at the end of the day, you still want to be healthy. You still want to be a good representative of what it means to be a vegan, right? And you want to try and keep yourself. I mean, you just want to stay healthy. You don't want to be unhealthy for many, many reasons, right? But at the same time, vegan burgers are good, so I understand if you fall into a pit of vegan cheeseburgers. I understand also. It's an internal battle for me too, staying healthy, but just all these amazing vegan products getting released every day. I mean, it's a battle. I found this other video here that I've no idea what this is, but we're going to take a look at it, and if it's any good, we'll stay with it. If it's not any good, we won't. But it popped up for me, and it says cultural observations. This is vegans. I have no idea what it is. Let's watch it.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Frankie's Cultural Observations. Today, we're going to be analysing vegans. In the free market, virtue has become competitive. So rather than being an ethical dietary choice, veganism has become an endurance sport of typing, calling out, voicing concerns, holding space, and shedding awareness for problems that are too big to do anything about in the first place.
Okay, so this seems like some kind of vegan critical kind of jokey thing. With the initial thing is kind of funny. I guess it is just tongue-in-cheek, messing around. But they're saying that it's interesting saying that it's a problem that's too big to do anything about in the first place. Well, that's cool, because at least it's like been acknowledged that it is a problem in that sentence. So that's good. And the second part of that is too big to do anything about in the first place. Well, that's not true. This most simple thing you can do about it as an individual, if you're against doing all these things to animals, we've already been through. If you think that animals deserve to be protected, if you don't think we should breed them and just kill them and all these different things, you want a better world for animals, simple thing you can do is to, firstly, with your diet, is stop eating animals and animal products. Your diet is the biggest change you could ever make in your entire life, would be changing what you eat. There is nothing actually, I'll go down on record and say this. For you as an individual person, you're going to do a lot of things in your life, and you're going to have a lot of choices. There is no other choice that has as big of an impact as your diet does. If you change your diet to become animal free, there is nothing else in your life that will have as big of an impact as that. Nothing. I even if you were some kind of life-saving surgeon, the amount of surgeries you would do throughout your entire career, the amount of people you would save, would be minuscule in compared to the impact on animals that you would have if you stopped eating animal products, if you went animal free. We're talking over a lifetime, and especially if you consider that what you do, if you changing inspires others to change and creates that knock-on effect, and that keeps going and going like a snowball effect, and bringing that in, it's just incredible the amount of change you could make and the amount of impact you could make. So yeah, that's I understand that here it's going to be weird because I'm responding seriously to what appears to be a troll video. But we'll just keep going, I suppose. Charlie just tipped and said, quite a defeatist attitude. Yeah. It's a troll. So, he's got to be defeatist, I suppose, for the content.
Vegans are not difficult to understand. They're just cows that don't eat meat and know how to share infographics on Instagram. These human cattle can't fit anything else in their mouth. They're too busy eating other vegans for not being vegan enough.
Oh my God.
So vegans, as a species of protectors, are a protected species that will soon become extinct due to in-group dining. So while they stand against humans frying pigs into bacon, they're perfectly happy with the snake eating its own tail. This is an inner form of self-critique known as internalized vegetarianism, a spreadable form of friendly fire, a saltiness that clusters across all the kale it crunches. I can't believe it's not butcher.
What the hell? I am so lost, honestly. I don't know what kind of point he was trying to make just then.
Vegans begin to embody the authoritative parental figure, the self-appointed disciplinarian of people who basically agree with their worldview anyway. This militant strand of vegan decides to go to war with other inferior vegans who eat veggie burgers and vegan chocolate instead of raw, unprocessed stuff that actually tastes disgusting. So when it comes to nutritional intake...
Actually, raw, unprocessed stuff doesn't taste disgusting. I'll just point that part out. That's like a really common thing that people think, but when you actually prepare food properly, funnily enough, when you prepare food properly with proper recipes, it tastes good. Make food at home, make it properly, it'll taste good.
There's no meat on the bone, so to speak. These celery vultures seek out their prey and pluck them apart in the public square / community garden that they have outdoor fun in with the polycule that they got kicked out of. Vegans abstain from animal products, but cannibalism within their own community remains vegan friendly and is actively encouraged. Is that vegan?
No.
This strain of vegan acts as cannon fodder for Piers Morgan to invite him on the show and then roast their meat about how delicious burgers are, disregarding their opinion just because they have a nose ring.
I don't know how he keeps... I was going to say I don't know how he keeps a straight face, but obviously he isn't here.
While vegans hate other vegans, their real enemy is meat, dairy and vegetarians, as opposed to, say, the K-holes that tear strips out of their bladder every weekend. It turns out having a balanced diet of the 5 food groups could give them a chemical imbalance or throw their chakras out of alignment, and that would be a disaster. They could have a wobbler and show up at your house demanding you make them an entirely separate meal. What's your name?
India.
Exactly. Vegans feel things very deeply, but they don't have time to worry about themselves. They have too much eco-anxiety to think about their own problems, or about how many bowls of chickpea curry it will take for Coca-Cola to stop dumping plastic into the ocean. So they goose you with their green thumb, dangling your dietary preferences on the long finger to poke you about how unethical you're being with your free will. Therefore, vegans believe in personal responsibility and doing your own bit, which, ironically, in a different context, is exactly the type of talking point you'd hear from someone who thinks climate change is a hoax. So vegans have their snipers set on the everyday civilians rather than the major corporations who do most of the damage.
That's not true. That might appear to be the case, but this is something that people probably don't know too much about. Well, there's a reason though, right? Because you'll see the majority of a lot of vegans are out there and they're trying to talk to the public, raise awareness, get information out, and hopefully the public would also want to change. And when they do change, and when people do change, they directly affect the corporations by removing their money from those corporations, right? So there is still an impact, and it's not about just, how many people can we make vegan for the sake of going vegan. We're trying to impact those big corporations by taking away the bottom dollar, right? Taking away the funding, which is coming from the public. But it's not only what activists do. There's also a lot of top-down activism, and there's stuff that you wouldn't see if even vegans don't see this. So if you're not a vegan, you would probably never see the types of activists and the types of actions that people take against massive, massive companies. Like, for example, one of them is Cargill, which is an absolutely massive, massive corporation that is involved in practically all sides of animal agriculture. And yeah, animal rights people and vegans have been targeting them over the years, but you would never know about that because they're not going to announce it, and the media doesn't cover it because why would they? They're probably, let's be honest, they're probably paid not to cover it, and it's not that interesting. But it is interesting when a vegan goes out and gets into an argument with someone in the street in a shouting match. Yeah, media loves that for obvious reasons, right? So there's just an element of that to it, but yeah, I know he's joking and messing around here, but yeah, just so you know, that's not entirely the case, even though it looks like it is.
And what they fail to realise is most of us are at least peripherally aware of the ethics around eating meat, but our love of the cow is often not stronger than our love of the burger. And because we've become alienated from the process of food production, none of us know cows in real life. So meat eaters can't really be blamed if they enjoy a summertime barbecue. If vegans really want to take a stand and make a change,
that person is surely just an actor, right? Not actually a vegan. He's just made stand there and ate a burger in front of them. Surely not.
they need to eat the rich in nutrition.
Yeah, of course, actors. That was a really odd video.
In nutrition.
But it was more tongue-in-cheek than it was anything. I don't think it was super serious. I would honestly assume that he's not even eating an animal burger there, because I don't get the vibe that the guy's like a proper douchebag. I think he's just messing around. But this was very bizarre, to say the least. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that. It was just comedy. It was just silly comedy, poking fun at vegans. Mostly relatively harmless, just being purposefully silly. But at least it wasn't like some people do. Like the comedian we saw last week, that was like a stand-up comedian. What was his name again? Russell Peters, and he did the worst segment on vegans. This was hilarious compared to that. That was terrible. Oh my god. Yeah, that was really bad. The last week's one. Just you can go look it up on YouTube. Just put in Russell Peters vegan. You'll see it right there. It's proper depressing. Jeffrey, thank you so much for the tip, mate. Carnism is a dogmatic death cult. Please sub to my channel and check out my live weekly podcast, Vegan Group Therapy, VGT Live. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, people go check out his channel if you think that sounds nice. I think it sounds nice to have a live weekly vegan podcast. Why not? Go for it. Thanks again, Jeffrey. All right. How's everyone doing, chat? I'll divert my attention to you for a couple of moments if you'd like. Before we check out another video I've got lined up. We're going to watch a video by Arvind, Animal Activist, which looks like it's going to be a little fun. So apparently you guys saying you think, oh, the trolls have gone now, have they? Maybe they were timed out. What else is going on in the chat? End of day, when a croc eats someone in Africa, they are doing that because they are the predators. Yes, that's true. Crocodiles act on instinct. They don't act on what they think is right or wrong. They just do. Fortunately, as we were born as humans, so we have the ability to think, hey, do you know what? I don't think I'm going to go and do that thing that hurts another person or another animal. I'm gonna not do that. I'm going to go to the shop instead. I'm going to pick up the thing that doesn't have any animals in it, that has lots of nice nutrition for me and tasty. I'm going to eat that instead. Yeah. We're quite lucky to have been born as humans, aren't we, to be able to make those decisions. I'm currently talking to someone that thinks plant farming is as harmful or bad as animal farming because plants created an ecosystem. So wait, no, let's steel man that, right? So plants are a vital part of our ecosystem. They created the livable atmosphere that we have. That's true. Okay. Also, we can grow and eat plants without negatively impacting that ecosystem. Or at least that's something we should be aspiring to do. What we can't do is continue eating and using animals in a way that doesn't involve breeding, forcing them into captivity, taking their babies, cutting off all parts of them and mutilating them, and taking everything we can from them and then killing them when they're no longer that useful alive. We can't do that without that. So we can grow plants and we can harvest plants without destroying the planet, but we can't do the same to animals without putting animals through all of that. It's not possible. And it's wrong because of the things that we value in animals, that we value each other for. We live in a society where the reason that we would stop a bad person from hurting someone else is because we realize that that someone else feels pain and can suffer and is an individual, and they have the right to not have those things done to them. And we've decided that as a society, we say, hey, no, because they're vulnerable, because they're weaker than you, and because they've done nothing wrong, we're not going to let you hurt them. And we have laws against murder, we have laws against assault, we have laws against exploitation of humans, right? Because of these things. We also have those same laws in a lot of places for dogs and cats and hamsters. People can get massive fines or even put in jail for doing those types of horrible things to those animals. But then when it comes to cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, we suddenly change the rules and we say, hey, do you know what? It's okay to do all those things to those animals. Just don't do it to dogs, don't do it to people. And that doesn't make sense. And that's why the vegans, and not only the vegans, but anyone who wants to make the world a better place for animals, anyone who wants to see a world for animals that is significantly better than the one we have now, that's why they switch and start eating and consuming and animal-free products, animal-friendly products. And it's super simple. It's as simple as just going to the shop and choosing the animal-free version of the things you were buying before, which most shops have. And if you don't have those, it's as simple as buying the ingredients and just cooking stuff at home. And that's food prep. Lots of people food prep. It saves you money as well. Not only does it save animals, it saves you money. Food prepping once or twice a week, making meals in mass, What else we got? I'm still having a little glance at chat for a few more minutes. David, if you were to read the Bible, you might understand why animals are here for us. Well, this is you're basing that on the assumption that I'm a Christian. What about if someone's a Hindu? Do you just deny their reality because they don't believe in eating? A lot of Hindus don't believe in eating animals because of their religion. Is their religion wrong and your religion right? But anyway, even if we're going to talk about Christianity, do you believe Jesus was going around killing animals? Imagine back thousands of years ago, before they had any kind of knowledge really, or any kind of real systems and agriculture systems that like we have today, where people would be killing animals. Imagine how they'd be killing animals back then. So if you're going to tell me that Jesus, the most compassionate man, God, whatever you believe, to have ever walked the earth, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-compassionate, all-loving, if you believe that it's totally fine for us to eat meat, then you must also believe that Jesus was also totally fine with eating meat, which means that was Jesus killing animals? And if so, how would he do it? Was he pinning animals down by the throat, stabbing them in the neck? What was he doing to them? And if you believe that, okay, well, no, he was doing this, but because he was God, he was able to just, magic them to death and they didn't feel anything. Well, aren't we all supposed to follow in Jesus' footsteps then? How do we do that? We can't magic animals to death. So what would Jesus tell you to do? If you were stood in front of Jesus right now, imagine he's come down, he's visited you, right? And he says, hey, talk to me. And you ask him, you say, Jesus, listen, I need to know what to do, right? So I've got a couple options. I can pay someone to force an animal to have a baby, right? By shoving their arms inside them, injecting them with semen, force them to have a baby, right? Tear that baby away, okay? And then just keep doing that to get more and more babies so we can keep the system going. And then also take their milk off them and take their eggs from them if they're a chicken. And then I want them to kill them, right? So I can eat them. And how they're going to kill them, there's lots of ways. They could gas them, maybe shoot them in the head. Just straight up slice their throat is also an option. That's something that some religions do, for example. Or Jesus, or I can eat the things that don't have any of that. Like, what do you think I should do, Jesus? So if I'm going to kill the animal, how should I do it? Is Jesus going to tell you to gas, stab, shoot, or strangle the animal? Which one's he going to tell you to do if he's happy with you killing animals? What advice would Jesus give to the average Christian walking around on earth today when it comes to killing animals? Could you envision that? Jesus giving advice like that? Well, first of all, here's what you have to do. I think that as Jesus, the most compassionate person and God, all loving, all compassionate, here's how you got to do it, okay? So grab the knife and just rip it, just stab them in the throat, like bump, bump, bump. Yeah, sure, Jesus is going to say that? I don't think so. I can't speak on Jesus' behalf. I don't know what he would say, but I really, really struggle to believe that he wouldn't say, bro, hey, that's cool and all, and we've had to do things in the past for survival, and that was what it was, but why do you want to keep these are living, breathing, feeling animals. These are creatures they have families, personalities, they're individuals. Why do you want to keep breeding them and stabbing them when you could just eat the other stuff? I mean, I'm all loving and compassionate. That's what I would do that. I wouldn't just. Why are you doing this, bro? I find that much easier to believe, to be totally honest with you. I actually think it's pretty damning that it puts me off Christianity that people would say, oh yeah, Jesus would just totally just come out and just slaughter all these animals and just kill them. Like, why would anyone want to be a part of a religion where the apparently most compassionate people, compassionate gods or whoever, is in the religion, where they're okaying abusing and killing the most weakest, defenseless creatures on the planet? What kind of peace? How is that peace? How is that compassion? It doesn't make any sense. And if you follow, you should watch Cowspiracy anyway to learn a little bit more about that, about Jesus and how he really feels about animals. Because there's a lot to this. Cowspiracy.com. Go watch it for free. I didn't do a link. It's a documentary that just came out. I'm going to type it again. There we go. Did a link this time. Go watch this documentary about Jesus and animals and see what really happened. Jordan, Vegan USA 16, super chatted and asked, I'm recording a YouTube video. Can you please tell me why you are vegan? Sure, Jordan, are you still here? This was like 8 minutes ago. I'll wait till you pop up in the chat so you're ready. And Dave, also tipped. Thank you, Dave. Matthew 9:13, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Jesus, directly quoting Jesus, saying, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Yeah, that's pretty clear cut, isn't it? It's pretty clear cut. But definitely get over to Cowspiracy.com to check that out. I think you guys really value that, and it will blow your mind. There's a lot in there about Christianity and religion in general, and how a lot of things have been twisted over the years. Jordan's ready. All right, Jordan, cool. Why am I a vegan? All right, let's put it in the most simplest of terms. I'll turn the alert box off for a minute for you, but I'll read this out first. Isaiah 66:3 states, whoever sacrifices a bull is like one who kills a man, and whoever offers a lamb like one who breaks a dog's neck. That's interesting. I've not heard that one before. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, Jordan, so why am I a vegan? I'm a vegan because I don't believe in breeding animals. I don't, for us to just get pleasure from them or their bodies. I don't believe in forcing them into captivity. I don't believe in using them for their bodies, for their milk and their eggs. I don't believe in killing them. I don't believe that we should be doing any of these things to animals for the sake of our own pleasure and our own convenience. And I believe this is wrong, because the things that we value in our society, the things that we all agree are valuable, the things that we see in the vulnerable, when we look at a baby or we look at a child and we say, why do we protect them? Why will we punish those who try to harm them? And why will we always protect them from anyone who would ever do anything to them, whether it be physical harm or simply exploiting them? Why do we stand against that? Why are there laws? Why are we also passionate? Well, because we acknowledge they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable, they're defenseless. They feel their feelings, the capacity for suffering, both psychological and physical. And these are the things that we all value as a society and we believe deserve protection. And it also goes for those who have disabilities, for example. Anyone who we deem to be vulnerable and in need of defense, it's for those reasons that we say we need to defend them and protect them. Animals have all of that, all of it. They're completely hopeless when we come along. We are more powerful, we're stronger, we are more intelligent. We have all these different systems that are designed so we win every single time when it comes to what we do to them. And we have developed systems that breed them into existence just so that we can use their bodies for things that we like and for things that make us happy and for things that are convenient to us. And so that people can line their pockets and make millions and millions, billions and trillions of dollars. And I think all of that is wrong. So that's why I'm a vegan. I oppose all of that. And I want to show that in practice with my everyday life, to show that I'm against that. And this is how I choose to do it as someone who lives in this society. This is a way of protesting the society, is to say, I disagree, so I'm not going to partake in it. I'm not going to fund these items. I'm not going to fund these products. And as I keep going and as I keep learning more and more, there are more and more things that I will refuse to fund. And some might say that's a very small drop in a very large ocean. And you'd be right, it is, but it is a drop. And the more people that we can help realize this, the more people we can help see the reality of life for animals that are bred into this food system and to this leather, skin system, fur systems, into all the things, sports and entertainment and all the things that we do with animals and pets and zoos. And when we get people to see all of this, it'll be many, many, many drops that make an ocean. And there will be a tipping point where there will be more of us who are against it. And that's a future that I'm passionate about seeing. It's a future that I think that we will see. And so that is a detailed explanation, I guess, of why I'm a vegan and also why I speak out and why I speak up about making the world a better place for animals. I hope that's what you were looking for. Kind of went a little off the cuff there and improvised a little bit more than usual, rather than like a more planned out response. So I hope that's what you're after, Jordan. I appreciate you asking the question. All right. Let's take a look then at this video here by Arvin Animal Activist. So this one was interesting to me. It looks like I didn't watch it. Maybe I watched a little bit of it. It looks like I think this was a bit of a spicier one. Why is this changed?
No one needs to
stop enforcing your views on people. Why keep bringing new ideas? Debate veganism. So this is over in India. This is Arvind, Animal Activist, and he goes to schools, colleges, universities, and he does talks on animal rights and veganism and why to make the world a better place for animals and all these things. And oftentimes he gets into debates with people, and this is one of those occasions where it looks like he got into a bit of a debate. Before I get into that, actually, I'll quickly acknowledge the chat as I see the baby debate has come up again. I can't say the word because YouTube doesn't like that word. It doesn't like people talking about that topic. But I'll quickly acknowledge it before we get into it. I completely, when people are really passionate about that topic, when it comes to the baby topic, I'm saying the baby topic, you know what I'm talking about. It begins with abs and ends with shins, okay? And I understand why people are passionate about it, and I empathize with it. I empathize with it because I'm a vegan. That's how I understand where you're coming from. I know what it's like to stand up and say, hey, the majority of the world seems to think that this is okay, and I'm trying to defend the weak and the vulnerable, and it seems like people are losing their minds and doing more and more horrible things to animals. So I get where you're coming from, is that you're passionate about this. We're in kind of a similar boat in that way. So what I would say is, as you are passionate about this, you come at this as if vegans are somehow the enemy. But if anything, vegans are more likely to understand where you're coming from because we're doing something similar, right? So instead of coming at vegans and saying, oh, what about this? What about this? Why not try to see that there is some crossover here between us and you? And if you care about babies, if you truly believe that the baby is a life worth defending for all the reasons that you give, I would just simply ask that you extend that to animals as well, because I know that most people believe there is a sanctity to human life for religious reasons. That's absolutely fine. But practically speaking, animals are still deserving of protection because of the things I've already mentioned. They feel pain, they suffer, they're individuals, and they're just as weak and vulnerable and defenseless as any human child, as any baby. So even if you don't see them as valuable because of because of whatever reason, are they so minimal value that you would put them through hell on earth? Do they mean so little to you that you would be happy for people to go and do all the horrible things they do to them in farms and then kill them in slaughterhouses? I don't think so. So even if you think the animals are don't have as much meaning as humans, they have enough meaning to not put them through all of that, do they not? So yeah. So if you are passionate about that issue with the babies, that issue, I'd say you're at a pretty good place to start with understanding why vegans are also passionate about animals, and we should be able to have better conversations rather than attacking each other, I would say.
No one needs to fight for animals.
That's what I'm
Everyone
saying. Why
needs to
you
stop
want to be
hurting
a
animals.
vegan to become an animal activist? Let's become animal activists. Then whoever wants to be vegan, let them be vegan.
Okay, can I be a child molester and still be a child rights activist?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So the question is for me is like, yeah, I respect veganism. I respect your everything. I respect completely. Even today, I will change into vegan. But one thing I'm asking you is like, this has been followed from ancestor wise. Like when the fire started, they started to burn meat and eat. This doesn't mean they didn't have a crop to eat. This better thing that something changed them. Not even one morning they suddenly woke up and said, today I'm going to eat meat. No. Yeah, many people are vegetarians and non-vegetarians. I'm not saying vegetarians are wrong. Non-vegetarians are not saying non-vegetarians are wrong. Then why come another one like, suddenly one day, veganism? Why?
Because suddenly a group of people in society decided to wake up and not be hypocrites, not be liars, look at the world for what it really is.
Sir, if that is like that, from ancestor time only they would have this concept also, sir. For example, whatever we say like this ancestor brought this, that ancestor, from years and years, so for eras and eras, we are following this. There are two groups of people, maybe three, maybe four. But veganism is like suddenly one of the time it started and they are making like non-vegetarians a taboo topic, slaughtering, unethical, you're inhumans. Why? You're not inhumans.
Did I use the word inhuman in my lecture?
No, it's not like inhumans.
The other words I used.
Yeah.
Unethical I used, but inhuman means something different. Did I use that?
I love dogs. It doesn't mean I love
Wait. My friend, I'll take you, we'll go one by one. You use the word inhuman. I'm asking you, in my speech or in the Q&A, even when someone asked me who asked me a question here, I think like whether eating meat, what's my opinion on people, did I say that meat eaters are bad people?
No.
Or did I say that just because they eat meat does not mean they're bad? So why would you even use that word inhuman when I never even uttered that word?
No, I'm not saying, I felt like it's like inhuman. When you say like the people the videos you saw, there are humans who are doing it. It doesn't mean a machine is doing. A human is catching, it's putting inside the machine and it's getting died. Then it's also called like, we don't even bother about them. We are also bothered about them. It doesn't, sir, it's a simple thing. If 5 goats are being slaughtered, we don't have a issue. But when it's 5,000 goats are slaughtered, we have an issue. Yes or no?
Whether 5 goats are being slaughtered, whether you have an issue or not for 5 or 5,000, each and every single goat there has an issue with being slaughtered. I am speaking from their perspective, not from your perspective or mine. From their perspective, it's wrong, right? Animal rights, first of all, you're making the statement that, if I may just, and if you want to cut me short, go ahead, but just give me a chance also to respond. You keep saying that our ancestors did this, and it's been happening from a long time. Why this new concept called veganism suddenly? First of all, my question is, why? What's wrong with a new concept? If the new concept is helping in creating a kinder world, a better world, a world with less, if suppose every slaughterhouse tomorrow is shut down, do you agree that less animal violence is happening? That is a fact, right? So, someone coming forward with a new idea to create less animal violence, why is that even, what's wrong with this idea? It's a beautiful idea.
It's a beautiful idea. That's what I'm saying. But if you're like animal activist, why you come under the group, I mean, like a tagline called veganism. You can do it in various ways. If you want to save chickens, okay, go save chickens. If you want to save goats, go save goats. But why you come under the topic
because I
veganism?
don't want to save chickens, I don't want to save goats. I no longer want to pay others to harm them on my behalf, and I want to convince others also to not pay people to harm them on their behalf. I'm not trying to save anybody, I'm trying to convince people to not harm animals. It's not about saving. You get my point? So
there's such passion. It's one of the things when I was over in India, and you got to respect it. A lot of Indian people have like lots and lots of passion, and they really love arguing, like super outspoken, super fiery. Even sometimes if they don't know much about something, I found a lot of people in India would still be willing to engage in some kind of argument, even if they just, and I don't mean as an argument as in like some kind of casual kind of, I disagree with you, but like a fiery argument, like really quickly. It's quite interesting to see, for example, how fired up she was, and she didn't really even have anything that was particularly, there's no need to be so fiery, but it still came out fiery anyway. And she seems to agree with him a lot. And because what he's saying is, you'd really struggle to argue with what he's saying, right? I know some people would try, but he's not saying anything bad, is he? He's very reasonable and very compassionate person. And that's all he's out here for. He's not out here to prove people wrong or be super right or anything like that. He's just trying to make a difference in the world, trying to make a better world.
So again, coming back to the whole ancestral things, just because something is ancestral, just because something has been done for thousands of years, doesn't mean that now we should leave that part unquestioned. Just because something is a part of our culture doesn't necessarily mean that it is right. I'll give you an example. When a husband died in ancient times, they used to take the wife and throw her on the fire and burn her. Was that a part of our culture or not, Indian culture? So if I stood back then 300 years ago and I condemned that, would you support me, or would you say, our ancestors have been burning women for thousands of years? What will you say? Will you support me, or would you say, Arvind, why this new idea against Sati? Where did this new idea come from? Will you say it that way?
But in between, I'm not telling like from ancestor.
But answer my question if you could, please. What would you say at that time?
That is wrong. That is wrong.
Okay. Then why do you then put forth an idea like, why are you suddenly bringing up veganism?
No, I'm not saying suddenly bringing the veganism. This animal slaughter thing is not a new stuff. I'm telling like many people were against of this brutality against animals. It's not called recently. It's been from years to years. Those people have changed themselves into vegetarians. I'm telling that those people are really changed into vegetarians. They don't belong to any community or caste. from their knowledge, they only changed into vegetarians because they don't want this to happen to animals.
Right.
We can also do that only, right?
Isn't that what I am doing? I'm giving awareness and giving. I told you it's a puzzle piece.
No,
I will give
now
you
we are
the-
suddenly are saying milk wrong, ghee wrong, this wrong, that wrong. Why?
Absolutely. Sati wrong, child marriage wrong, untouchability wrong, any kind of evil or violence, I will say it's wrong. What else can I say? How else can I say it in any other way?
Oh my God. It's cool that also that was another thing I noticed in India. Even if people don't agree with you, even if they're not on board with you, if you do a zinger, if you get a good point, if you, I don't know, get someone or prove someone wrong in a big public way, you'll get massive applause from everybody. That happened to me a couple of times when I did speeches over there as well. And it was it was surprising when it happened because, you're talking to a whole audience that don't necessarily agree with you, but they will still give you a round of applause if you say something that kind of wins the argument or something. Dave, thank you for the tip, mate. It's a scoundrel's plea. Make not when you work a deed of shame the scoundrel's plea. My forebears did the same. Yeah. What's that quote from? Is that like I don't know where that comes from, but I like it. That's exactly that's what she's doing. She's trying to say, well, my ancestors did it, so I'm going to do it too, right? That's exactly what she's doing. You are right. You are right. And it's something a lot of people do go for it, and it's I get it. It's hard to blame people because ultimately all any of us doing is stuff that our parents told us was good and their parents told them was good. And this has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years and longer. And so it's no surprise that people say, well, my ancestors did it as a reason to keep doing something. Well, it's because, it's how most of us are wired. You ask someone, why do you eat meat? They'll say it's for my health. They'll say it's for protein. They'll say it's for, we need it. We just need it. We'll die without it. And all these things. The real reason that most people eat meat is because they eat meat. The reason that most people eat animals and eat animal products is because they eat animals and animal products. When you drill down to it, there's no reason for it. It just is. It's just what I do. It's because it's who I am. And who are you? I am the product of my parents and my society. That's it. That's it at the end of the day. And that's what I personally am trying to kind of get out there to people, to make people, to help people realize that a lot of the things we do, there's really no reason for them. A lot of the habits we do, there's no real reason. There's no real explanation for them. We just do. But this habit, this one that we have, eating animal products, using animal products, this habit is not harmless. It's not a harmless thing that we just do, that just is. It comes with such a cost. Such a cost to animals. Animals that most of us would say we care about, but yet we just do these things to them because we just do. And what we're trying to do, and what I'm trying to do, is to flip the script on that and say, if you're just doing it because you're just doing it, please consider just not doing it. Let's talk about how that would look. Let's talk about why to do that and what would that look like. Unfortunately, these days especially, it's really simple to make the switch. There's so many resources out there for you to make the switch now to an animal-free diet and to an animal-free way of living. You can use challenge22.com, challenge22.com, completely free, run by volunteers, qualified volunteers, who their only purpose, their only job is to help you make that switch completely free with nutritional advice, recipes, everything that you might need. It's all available to you at your fingertips at challenge22.com and beyond. So many other ways as well. YouTube videos, articles, tons of stuff out there right now. But challenge22.com is the best place to start, in my opinion. Dillian, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. We are the ancestors of people in the future, so we can make traditions and figure stuff out too. That's a really good point, Dillian. I never thought about that before. That's a really good way of looking at it. That maybe people hundreds of years from now will look back and say, and someone will say, why are you a vegan? And they'll go, I just am. I mean, I just am, I guess. It's just the way the world is. And then someone will try and say, well, I mean, why not just eat animals? And they'll go, well, my ancestors didn't eat animals, so why should I? And who knows? That would be an interesting world, wouldn't it? What a cool world that would be to live in.
No. Child marriage doesn't all other stuff. I'm talking only
How
about
is it
the
other
food
stuff?
culture.
So you speak Tamil?
This doesn't come under veganism.
Wait. I know it doesn't under veganism, but it comes under justice, right? I'm talking about justice right now. Justice for animals, justice for humans.
We can give justice to the animals in various forms.
Justice for all. You agree that justice for humans and justice for animals?
Slaughtering animals in this way, we can stop.
So what is a nice way to slaughter someone who does not want to die?
Sorry?
What is the right way to slaughter someone who does not want to die? You said slaughtering in this way is wrong. So what will be an ideal way to kill someone? What kind of a reaction is that? See, you're killing them. See, for you, in the end of the day, your life is precious to you. Your life belongs to you. Your body belongs to you. And no one has the right to take those things away from you. Even, for example, say in your purse right now you have money, you have 500 rupees, hypothetically, okay? And you need only 100 rupees to go home. I cannot be like, well, 400 is extra for you, you don't need it, I'll take it right now. It's yours. I have no right to claim anything from you as mine. What is yours, and you have the right to be on earth. Similarly, those animals, they only have their life. They don't have anything else. And even that we take away from them. So, what problem do you have with me?
I have the principles as a problem, sir. I'm telling for an example.
Okay.
What you're saying is, yeah, correct. I'm completely accepting it. But I have one problem. The thing is, suddenly one era, one sort of group came. They started to preach something.
Okay.
They changed everything. People felt like that principle is correct.
Okay.
Next, another era, another people came. They preached something. They said, follow this, don't follow that. With some evidence. Why? They gave some ethical, principle way. So we started to follow them. Now I feel this is something is coming. They are giving some principles. We are saying this is wrong because it's not been questioned for these many years. So we started to question this is wrong. So we all have to convert. I feel like we are converting ourselves. Why should we convert?
Yeah, but
she's not been through all of that, though, has she? She's not been living for thousands of years. And, I just have had to change my views so many times because... And even if she was a vampire and she'd been living for thousands and thousands of years, it's okay to change when new information presents itself. It's okay. Even if you had lived through, imagine in the last 50 years of your life, if you're in your, whatever, or 30 years of your life, if you're in your 50s, right, or something like that. Imagine you went through loads of changes. Imagine you started off life eating all animal products. And then everyone decided, hey, do you know what? Actually, we're not going to eat dogs. And this was the new thing. And you were like, okay, we'll not eat dogs. I'm cool with that. And then people were like, well, wait a minute. Actually, if we're not going to eat dogs because dogs are dogs, well, what's the difference between dogs and chickens and all these other animals? That means that we kill dogs. And we love little dogs and we love dogs, but we kill all these other animals. And they're similar to dogs. They have pain and their families and they like cuddles and love and affection, just like my dog does. You know what, guys? We're going to create this thing called vegetarianism. We're going to stop eating the animals. We're going to stop killing them. Okay, cool. That's another bit of information. That's good, right? That's a good thing. Okay, cool. And then they say, do you know what? Actually, we stopped killing them, which is good. We stopped eating the meat. But do you know what? There's still problems here. I mean, with the milk, how do we get the milk? I mean, they're forcing pregnancy on these bloody cows. They're injecting them with sperm and semen. They have to take babies away to get the milk from them, and it doesn't feel right. We don't think it's right anymore to keep on just breeding animals, just breeding them, just so we can take their milk from them, keep them in pens and take their milk from them, and then we have to kill them because otherwise there'll be too many of them because we keep breeding so many of them. So we have to keep killing them and. Let's stop the milk industry. We've got alternatives. We're still healthy. Let's do that. Okay, cool. And then they do the same thing for the eggs as well. They look at these eggs. Look at these chickens. Look what we have to do to them to give everyone eggs in the world. And they're laying so many eggs. It's hurting their bodies. And then we have to keep on breeding them too because we have to make sure there's enough of them to make enough eggs so everybody can eat eggs. And this is all a mess. No. We don't need eggs. We don't need them either. We can be healthy without eggs. Let's stop doing all these things to these animals as well. Okay, that's the new thing now. Okay, so now we're all eating plant-based. Okay, that's another change. Cool. So we don't do. Oh, the leather. We're still breeding the cows to take their skin and make stuff out of it, and fur as well. Oh, we cut that out too. Oh, we're still testing on animals. We're testing on them. We don't need to test on them anymore. We've got alternatives now. We don't need to do that anymore. And then we land at something called veganism, where actually, do you know what? Society gets to a point where it says, we value animals now. And you know what? We value children for all these reasons. We put the value of life because they're vulnerable and defenseless and because they have feelings and they suffer, even though they're not as intelligent and they're not as strong. Well, that's the case with all these animals too. Okay, then cool. So if we believe that children should be protected, cared for, free of any of this, free of any captivity, free of any exploitation, free of any killing, well then, okay, let's do the same thing for animals. Then you'll end up with the vegan society. Now, tell me, what would be wrong with going through all of that in one lifetime? What's wrong with that? Is it not okay for the morals of a society to get better? I mean, if it was going backwards, I would have an issue with it. If she was saying, hey, look, it seems like these decisions are driving society backwards, then I would agree with her if that was the case. I mean, if veganism was a backstep in terms of, you know, if we're going to a less compassionate world, if we're going back to a world that has more violence, well then yeah, I would have an issue with that. But it's not. It's going into a world that's better. It's going into a world that has less conflict, less violent behavior. Is that not where we want to be? If you don't want that, if someone's watching this and you don't want a world with less violence, I don't know what to tell you. Do we not have enough? I mean, look at the state of it. Look at the violence between each other. Do we really want to keep putting that same violence onto animals too? I mean, we can't do much about the violence between humans, between governments and armies, and like, we don't know much. Me and you, can we do much about that? Not really, right? But we can do something when it comes to animals. We can do something about that violence, because the only reason that violence is happening is because as a society, first of all, we give it the thumbs up. Second, we pay for it. They only work because we pay them to work. These massive companies, these massive organizations, we're paying them to do these things to animals every single day. We're paying them to do all sorts, not even just directly. We're paying them to do all these horrible things to animals, but we're also paying them to do horrible things to humans too. I mean, look, do you not think about what a human being goes through working in a place like this? And a lot of the people that are doing this, they're actually underprivileged. They're mostly migrants, people who've probably escaped horrific violence, and now their lives are horrific violence for 9 hours a day. Do you think that's good? What about all the things that they're doing for the production of mostly beef, where they're clearing out entire loads of land, clearing out rainforests to put the animals there and to grow the plants to feed those animals? You know, whether you're talking about this in the case of like land use and water use and pollution, or whether you're talking about this in the case of human exploitation and what humans go through and all that, or whether you're focusing on what I think is the most important thing here in terms of what the animals go through and looking at it from their perspective, whichever way you flip it, it's a complete and utter disaster. And dealing with this and changing this is only going to be good for the world. It's only going to get us to a better world than we're in now, not a worse one. So if it were, back to my point, I don't know why she's so incessantly arguing that, it's because this is bad change. But well, she doesn't think it's a bad change. She's just annoyed because it is a change. You should only be annoyed at change if it's bad. You shouldn't be annoyed at change if it's good, right? I would say, anyway. It'd be weird if you were annoyed at good change.
Are you converting yourself into someone better, or are you converting yourself into someone worse?
Maybe 10 to 15 years, another stuff will come. They will say, this is wrong. Then what should I do?
Well, are they...
My principles are wrong.
Yeah, I am questioning your principles.
How can you say my principles are wrong? Sir?
I am questioning your principles. I am questioning your... Because see, here's the thing. This lecture is not done obviously with an intention to offend, okay? But unless I risk questioning you and your beliefs, how can I create social change? See, if I want to create change in society, I have to go make the extra step and be bold and question society and their beliefs, which is difficult to do, I understand. But unless I do that, how can change happen? And another thing you mentioned is we keep guys, 1 second, please. You mentioned that we keep changing ourselves. Here's the thing. If what someone says to you makes sense logically, then I think it's worth taking what they say into consideration. If what they are saying is illogical, then we don't have to take it. But I will request one more thing of you, because you mentioned culture from the beginning and your ancestors. Have you sat back and questioned every single teaching your ancestors taught you scientifically, or have you blindly followed what they have taught you?
Most of them blindly and most of them...
Isn't that wrong? If you're willing to question a new idea, shouldn't we also question old ideas? And all I am doing is I'm questioning the old ideas. And the old ideas are violent. I am questioning only the violent parts. If there is something a part of our religion or culture or tradition that is violent, what is wrong in saying, yes, I come from this background, this is part of my religion, but it's violent, fine, this one part alone, I will do it differently. Why not move humanity forward by accepting, yes, some parts are wrong, because our ancestors are not perfect, right? They are not God, they are not perfect. So let's be objective and open-minded. If you think my message makes sense, or if you think, okay, let's say you think I'm speaking nonsense, please logically tell me where I'm wrong, so I can also change myself.
The logically is like, okay, whatever you say is correct. I'm not telling you're illogical and all.
Okay.
I'm telling, like, whenever you say it's unethical, and it's like literally targeting some principles. So it's like our human wish. We are not gonna be like for decades and decades we're gonna not live. It's like a short lifespan. When you're if you wanna be really an animal activist, let's all become an animal activist. I'm not against that.
No one needs to be an animal activist. Everyone needs to be vegan. No one needs to fight for animals.
That's what
Everyone
I'm saying.
needs
Why
to
you
stop
want to
hurting
be a
animals.
vegan to become an animal activist? Let's become animal activists. Then whoever wants to be vegan, let them be vegan.
Okay, can I be a child molester and still be a child rights activist? Please answer my question. No? Then my point is, if I am someone who is stuffing a dead animal in my mouth, how can I speak up for animals? If I am someone who engages in domestic abuse, can I speak up for women's rights? If suppose I say to you, my friend, I abuse my wife every day, okay, but I want to stand up with you in women's rallies. You'll be like, stupid Arvind, first you stop abusing your wife, then you come and stand with us.
That is a self thing, sir. It's like keep on saying you're unethical is wrong. I'm saying the way you say unethical is very wrong. This is not like the principle, whatever you said is correct. If you can't be against something which you already do. I'm telling you, if you abuse your wife and if you're saying against women's rights, that is wrong. That's what I'm saying. If I want to be an animal activist, it's my self thing to stop something. But when you say that is unethical, it's not, I'm not saying when non-vegetarians is non-veg, it's not unethical.
Is it unethical for me to abuse another human being? Yes, it's unethical, it's wrong, okay. Do you agree that without abusing animals, it's not possible to produce meat, dairy and eggs? Without exploiting them and abusing them, it's not possible to produce meat, dairy
It's
and
about
eggs?
a certain amount of rate how you do. It's not you compel them and
we'll give it that, but do you agree that without abusing and exploiting animals, you told abusing human is wrong, it's unethical. Now I'm asking you, that means without abusing and exploiting animals, can we get meat, dairy and eggs?
We can do according to some, so no, so we can do. It's not like every time.
How without abusing animals can you kill an animal?
What you are saying is like abuses.
No, again I'm asking, okay, because here's the thing, you are fundamentally showing what I showed us. You remember that I put a word called speciesism, right? It teaches you, through your culture and your ancestors, you have been, it's like in your brain right now, you're thinking that this guy is speaking, everything is correct. But at the end of the day, it's just animals, man. It's not that big of a deal. They are not humans. I am human, I am superior. If I give an example to a human being, you're saying, no, that's unethical. But animals, they are just animals. And you even made the statement right now, you care for dogs. But you don't, that is the definition of a speciesist. You have been taught an unethical thing. I don't know who taught this to you, but society as general has taught not just you, but all of us. I was also the same way. How was I any different 10 years ago? I was a hardcore meat eater. But still, I would pay money to the Blue Cross for them to rescue a puppy. That's what I was. But that's hypocrisy. And when someone told this to me, my face, I did not get angry. I told them, thank you. You called out the truth on my face. I'll change myself because what you say is right and what I'm doing is wrong.
So I will add something here that if someone is out there who's not currently a vegan or not even eating an animal-free diet or not even vegetarian or nothing, they're doing nothing, but yet they still fund an animal sanctuary, a dog sanctuary, they give money or they fund some kind of animal welfare organization or some kind of animal rights organization, and they give a lot of their salary to that, or they, I would say, don't stop doing that. Don't think that, oh, well, they don't want my support because I still eat meat or I still eat dairy, or, you should still keep doing that. But what Arvind is saying here is that there is some level of disconnect here, in that you would give money to help animals or certain animals that you have deemed to be worthy of help, but then you would give money to somebody else to go and hurt an animal that you've deemed unworthy of your help, and actually you've deemed them worthy of pure violence, and that's all you've deemed them worthy of. There is a disconnect here. That's what he's pointing out. I have massive respect for anyone who puts their hand in their pocket to help animals, regardless of whether or not they change all the rest of their life also to help animals. I still have respect for those who would try to help, but it still is the case that the best way you can help across your entire lifetime is going to be changing what you consume. This is the number one priority. And the beauty is you could do both. You can do both. You could do it even better, if anything, because if you switch to eating plant-based, animal-free food, and you switched to making it all yourself, for example, at home, and being, making good healthy foods, buying stuff in mass and making it at home, you would save way more money, as well as not being a part of these horrific systems that abuse animals. And with that money, you could give more money to the animal charities. So not only would you be helping animals by not eating them and not being a part of these systems that do all these horrible things to them, you'd have more money to donate to help the people who are helping animals. So it just is such a good decision to do that. And so I wanted to just add that context here and just make it clear that, it's super important for everybody out there who funds the various animal protection organizations and helps them keep going.
It's violent. So I don't know what else to say. Like you tell me. I think we're going in circles at this point.
Yeah.
You are just not willing to. The question that is last stopped was, without abusing or exploiting animals, can we get meat, dairy, and eggs?
No.
No. That means eating meat, dairy, and eggs is equal to animal abuse. Therefore, meat, dairy, and eggs is unethical. That's my point. That's where I'm coming from. At least that's where I come from. You get where my mindset is coming from?
They do even in sports, no, sir.
I'm sorry?
We're having animal sports. Then what is about it?
We're having, I couldn't hear you.
We are making animals to be in the sports stuff. We are involving animals now. We are doing in many stuff, sir. Only eating
all of that
comes
is
here.
wrong. Like I told you, we should not be using animals for culture, for tradition, for sacrifice, nothing. Ellame equally wrong. All of that is equally wrong. We should not.
Ellame equally wrong na. எப்போ ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிருக்கத விட இதெல்லாம் அப்பையில क्वेश्चन ஒரு குரூப் பண்ணிட்டு தான் சார் இருக்குது. இத யாரும் இன்னைக்குன்னு பண்ணல. ஆனா இதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு நேம் வச்சு பண்றதே நான் தப்புன்றேன்.
ஆனா நீங்க ஏங்க மாறாம இருக்கீங்க? Why aren't you changing?
சார் நான் ஓகே நீங்க சொன்னது கரெக்ட். நீங்க நான் மாறினா எல்லாரும் மாறுவாங்கல. நான் மாத்தணும் கரெக்ட் தான். ஆனா ஒரு நேம் ஏன் வைக்கிறோம்? அது நீங்க எப்படி சொல்லன்னு தெரியல சார் எனக்கு. ஒரு நேம் வைக்கிறோம்.
If you don't like the name vegan, we'll take the name vegan and throw it in the dustbin. No need that name. Okay? Because have you heard of the saying that your actions speak louder than words? Your actions of not eating meat, dairy, and eggs are far more important than this stupid label called vegan. The label vegan means nothing. Because in the end of the day, I can call myself whatever I want, but if I don't support these industries, I am not exploiting animals. So throw the label in the dustbin. I don't care about the label. Just don't support animal exploitation is all I'm asking of you.
Yeah, this is what I want.
Yeah. Fair enough, I agree with you fully on that. So please be a person who doesn't support animal exploitation. That's all I'm asking you.
It took a while to get there.
Who doesn't eat meat, dairy, eggs, honey, leather, wool, silk.
That is according to them.
According to what?
According to their wish. So we can't change everyone, sir. That's the
so
point.
Precisely that means you disagree with everything. In the beginning you said by saying that you agree with everything I said. I think you just end it right now and probably move on. You don't agree with anything I say is the reality. You don't agree. Okay, fine, we disagree then. That's it.
Oh my God.
Thank you for your time.
Oh my goodness. That was crazy. And she was saying, I agree with everything you say. I agree with everything you say, but I have a problem. Basically, I have a problem with the labeling. So then he's like, oh, the labeling. Okay, don't call yourself vegan, then call yourself whatever you want. Well, actually, I disagree with everything you say. What? What kind of debate was this? Wow, that was... Oh, man, that's 15 minutes of time we ain't never getting back. But it was a good example of a dishonest conversation. Someone having a conversation with someone who's dishonest, because she was dishonest with him. She was lying to him at the beginning. She made him feel comfortable that he wasn't going to need to argue by saying I agree with you on everything. So then he just tried to deal with whatever else she wanted to talk about. But in the end, what he should have done, and she should have been honest and said, here's why I disagree. And it would have given him an opportunity so that he could have dealt with whatever she disagreed on. But instead, we had this debate, if you could call it that. What a shame. What a shame. But no, go and check out Arvind, Animal Activist. He is a very, very passionate and very well-educated and very, very good speaker. Really enjoy watching his videos, and he does some great work out there in India with some of these fiery debates that I'm sure you'll all appreciate. And he makes some great points about animals. You know, you heard the points he was saying there about tradition. They were really solid points. A lot of people just do what, as we said, we just do what we do because we do them, tradition, ancestors, etc. And he pointed out that in India they used to burn women alive when their husbands died. That was tradition. That was ancestors. Don't do it anymore. Well, and everyone's happy about it, right? So, you know, there are some traditions that should change. Thank you, Charlie, for the tip. The poem is actually from Al-Mari, born December 973, a vegan poet from 1,000 years ago. He also wrote "I No Longer Take from Nature," the prototypical vegan poem. Awesome, thank you. I've heard of him. I will check that out as well. I've read some of the stuff, but I've not properly delved into this guy yet. Ethical Psytrance Project. Thank you so much for the tip. It didn't bring anything up for me. I guess you didn't have a comment or a question, but thank you so much for the tip. I appreciate that. But yeah, back to Arvind there and with this video, what he was talking about with tradition and things changing. I think it's really important, and it's what I was alluding to as well earlier with that things changing isn't bad. Changing tradition is not bad. Changing culture and tradition is not, okay, it's not necessarily bad. It's not always bad. In a lot of cases, it's been fantastic. It's been great, actually. So, you know, that being the case, that a lot of the things have been great, there are a lot of things that may not be great. And I understand why people are sensitive, because a lot of things are changing now with the internet, social media. A lot of stuff is changing, and I agree with you. Some of it doesn't seem very good. I'm not going to say what, but there's a lot that I'm thinking, what is going on? I'll give you one example, like TikTok culture, brain rot culture, this whole culture of just, I guess you call them iPad babies and kids who are just rotting their brains with just mindless, moronic videos. You know, I think that's a really, really bad cultural shift. I think that's something we could do with stopping or I don't know, trying to change the direction we're going in. So that's one example of things getting worse. Like, and you know, I suppose our old traditions and cultures kind of changing into these new kind of ones. And there's loads of examples, but when it comes to how we are with animals, we have already changed so much. In the West, for example, there are animals that have rights. They have rights to the point where abusing them could get you put in jail. So that wasn't the case with our ancestors. That wasn't our original tradition, our original culture. They would have laughed at you. Wait, what? You could get put in jail for what? Abusing an animal. They're just animals. Are you kidding? Jail? You know, you said that some hundreds of years ago, people would think you were insane. They'd be like, you've lost your mind. There's no chance in hell you could ever get in trouble with the law for doing that. They're nothing. Animals are nothing. And then we've come a long way since then, haven't we? Where most of us don't see animals as just nothing. And science has proven that they have all sorts of incredible things that we really value in our society, like personalities, and they feel pain and they suffer, and they're very, they have feelings and towards each other and towards us. And so we know all this now. So things changed. That's a great cultural shift, is it not? That we changed to try and more animal rights came into play, and that we changed how we look at animals. And then we're continuing to do that. I don't see how anyone could call this bad, like a bad cultural shift or a bad alteration of tradition to be kinder, to be more compassionate, to make the world a better place for animals. Like, these things are bad changes to traditions, they're bad changes to culture. I just don't see it. I don't see it, and I think most people would agree with me that these are good cultural shifts. And I think most people would agree with me right up until the point where they're being told, you need to change. And that's where people start to disagree. And I understand why. No one wants to change. Nobody wants to be told that the things they think are good are bad. And nobody likes to change. And I get that. I didn't like changing either. I've told this story that I liked the food I liked. I liked the way I lived. I was a vegetarian. And for all my life, but I was obsessed with eggs. I ate eggs all the time. I ate cheese all the time. Eggs every single day, cheese maybe every day, possibly every 2 days, all the time. I didn't want to change any of that, but I did. And I did because I started to have those realizations of, what am I doing? What am I doing eating these animal products? I mean, I don't eat meat because I'm against killing, but I know that this isn't coming without a cost. I know animals, deep down, I know what's happening to animals is wrong for milk and for cheese and for eggs. I'm not stupid. I know it's wrong deep down. But I wanted to keep eating it. I didn't want to change. Who wants to change? Who wants to change their entire lives? People don't want to do it. But what's more important? What was more important to me, right? Me not wanting to change and being stubborn, is that more important? Living my life the way I want to live it? Or what happens to these animals? What do I value more? And every single time, of course, I value not putting violence on animals more than I value my own pleasure. And when push comes to shove, most people would agree with me on that one, wouldn't you? I'm sure you would. Even if you're not vegan, you would agree that your pleasure, your happiness is not more important than an animal's life being taken from them, or being forced into captivity, or having just a life, just some horrible, abusive, meaningless life where just someone just keeps on taking their milk from them and their eggs from them until they're older or unhealthy, and then they kill them. I mean, my 5 minutes of enjoying cheese, it's not worth that. It's not more important than that. And if it is more important, if you feel like that is more important, I'd just urge you to reevaluate that, please, because I don't like to believe that there are many people out there who are that self-obsessed or that cold and brutal, And I don't think most people are. I think most people might think they are, but I don't think they are. Like Hunter, for example, who we spoke about earlier. Hunter, who grew up as a hunter. Entire family, hunting family. He grew up killing animals, eating meat, killing animals, physically with his own hands, killing animals. And he turned it all around. He was cold. Look, this is him. This is Hunter. He was cold to it. He got over it. He didn't really have feeling. He enjoyed killing animals even. He got himself to that point where he was cold, but it was never truly him. Because when he started to look into it and listen to what animal rights people were saying, to what vegans were saying, he started to reconnect, and he started to realize that he never wanted to kill animals. He just learned it. He just learned killing. He just got used to killing and thought he enjoyed it. But it's because he was ignoring the animal's perspective. He was ignoring what they were going through. And he was just focusing on, you know, him and his buddies and impressing his family, impressing his friends, being a normal member of society, trying to fit in. But once he stopped putting all that as a priority and started to think about the animals, that's when he quit hunting, became vegan, and now he speaks up for animals and defends animals. So if someone like him can do it, I have hope for a lot of people in the world. I have hope for everybody watching this video anyway, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I think we can make a big difference in the world. I want more people to realize that you can, you know, you won't make many life-changing decisions in your life, as in changing the lives of others. You won't make many. Going animal-free, changing your diet to an animal-free diet, or going the step further and fully connecting and fully agreeing that we shouldn't do any of these things to animals, and becoming a vegan and opposing all of these things, opposing the breeding and the exploiting, the using their bodies and the killing and sports and the entertainment and testing on them, and, you know, milk and the eggs and the meat industries and everything. Becoming a vegan and opposing all of that is about the most impactful thing you can ever do in your entire life that impacts other living beings on this planet. It impacts animals first and foremost in a positive way. It impacts humans in a positive way. It impacts the planet in a positive way. There's just so many damn reasons to make that decision. And I hope of the 90 people who are still left watching, I hope this message hits you hard. And I hope of those of you who are currently not making those decisions, I really hope that this is your sign to start making those decisions. Start making animal-friendly choices. When you're next at the supermarket, pick the animal-free options. Start those wheels turning and let that lead you to an animal-free life, both in your diet and your lifestyle. And let's try and change the world. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thank you to everybody who has tipped and donated today. I really appreciate it for quite a lot, and I really do. Thank you, guys. Really do appreciate that. You keep these streams going, and thank you to everybody who's got involved in the chat. I'd like to say also an acknowledgement of everybody who's still here. We've got almost 100 people now who aren't vegan or vegetarian or anything like that at all. You are so welcome here. Please come back. Subscribe to the channel, or don't subscribe. Just save the channel, whatever. Come back, because you're the people. We want you in our community. We want to talk to each other. We need communications. We need to be able to talk to each other. We're forgetting that in today's world. And we don't just want an echo chamber where it's just all of us talking to each other and saying how good we are. Or, you know, we want you to be here so we can also chat with you, and we can all kind of share information and, you know, build something here and make a change, right? Because that's what I'm here for. So let this be a place where you come, where it's not just mindless shorts, reels of people being silly and whatnot. This is a place you can come for a real community and for real conversations with real people. So stick around, guys. Come back in the future, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next stream. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one, guys.